you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio, along with your host, Brian Smith, and
Kerry Smith,
giving you all the late-breaking news of the week past, setting you up for a good week to come, giving you all the information, trying to make sense of it all.
This has been kind of a big week.
It's a senseless week at times, you know? I'm just seeing if...
None of this makes sense!
Well, sometimes...
I'm not making any sense!
Right. And other times...
That does not make sense!
Right. So if it doesn't make sense, you must have quit.
Mr. Producer. What? Oh, is that from what I think it is?
And we are out of paper. Oh, last minute
wow.
show prep. I got an alert.
So what's the date today? We have
This is September 13th.
Sunday.
And
the week of 9/11.
Yeah, 2 days ago, the media, and this is just my personal take on it, the media did their fake "We Care" 9/11.
Yeah,
the fake "We Remember," fake "We Remember," don't never forget, fake never forget.
You know what it sounds like? Like I was listening to. I'm a name drop. Can I
Oh,
name
did
drop?
I name drop? Go ahead.
Okay. So of course, the beginning of the Sean Hannity show on 9/11, 2015, 14-year anniversary. He had this really tear-jerking, emotional, kind of like a audio, since it was on his radio show.
Right.
We're not talking about his TV show, of excerpts of the media on the morning of 9/11. And even Glenn Beck did it too. But then he goes on and has a big old monologue about how outrageous it is that we've all forgotten. But, you know, just the tone of his voice and what he was actually saying made it sound like he had jogged his own memory. Like, hey, let's put something together for 9/11. And then he did it, and then
it brought back emotions.
Yes, it did. It did. It brought it back, and he was just emotional. But it's like, okay, well, it's 14 years. Is this your annual time to get emotional about it and then forget about the next day or something like that? I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. I don't know.
No, well, I've got a picture of the Twin Towers when they were up in my living room. It's kind of a small picture. You kind of have to look for it. But it's really strange when you stand back from it, the clouds that are going across the top of the tower actually look like the tower's on fire.
It looks exactly like the photographs that were taken on 9/11, 2001.
But they're clouds.
Yeah, but the difference being that day they were kind of dark grayish.
Right.
Whereas on the picture you have, it's a white cloud.
Okay, so 14 years ago, there's a guy at work who's 18 years old.
Is he listening now?
He was 4.
Okay,
Maybe.
This is interesting.
We'll give the call-in number, 772-49-SMITH, S-M-Y-T-H. If you feel emotional, you want to release.
If you want to pull the old Sean Hannity.
You
maybe I'm being callous, but, you know, my whole thing is more of the rage. Like if you listen to Rush Limbaugh this week.
I got the sound clip from him.
Yeah, well, he's talking about a buddy of his. He didn't name him. He didn't give any information about him, but obviously a close personal friend of Rush who is just, he lost a son
right
in 9/11. And he's
I don't have that clip, but
bitterly angry. And every time something happens that doesn't, if you don't remember 9/11, which most of America don't, I'm sorry if you're listening and you're insulted by that, but if you're one of the minority who remember 9/11, guess what? You're in the minority, and that's pretty sad, and you should just be aware of that. But anyway, if you're one of those people that do remember, when you hear stuff like that we're going to go ahead and fast-track nukes for Iran, you're just like, what is your major malfunction?
Huh?
Yeah.
Right.
But it goes, it's beyond just saying, are you crazy? Are you stupid? It's more of a genuine anger Like,
Right.
I'm mad at the world. I want to stick my head out the window and because you're mad at the world.
And scream, I'm mad as hell and I ain't going to take it no more.
Right.
So this kid that's 18, he was 4 years old on 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
He knows all about it.
Oh, boy. I think I know where this is going.
You know what he knows. You know what he knows.
Does he have a good memory from when he was 4?
Oh, yeah, he knows all about
Or maybe he did a lot of research on it after the fact, when he got older, more mature, because it so affected him.
his teachers helped him to remember.
Oh, boy.
So I've got all these knuckleheads. Yeah, the folks that are on Facebook with us, yeah, there's a handful of y'all that are a bunch of knuckleheads because all week you've been blowing up my post screaming about the government.
Oh, yeah.
And what was that thing that one guy said? He said, you know, it's sad when the government sacrifices its own.
Oh, right. 9/11
What?
was his response to 9/11 was it was the government sacrificing its own. First of all, World Trade Center wasn't a government building, so what are you talking about? I don't,
Right, no.
What are you talking about? I mean, you could argue the Pentagon or whatever, but it takes somebody who knows physics well. I mean, I went into college for engineering in the engineering college, and we had a different physics. Everybody who takes physics for whatever their degree is takes like Physics 101 their freshman year. And then if you're in a field that involves physics, that you would take Physics 102, Physics 103, and you would take that all those years. I took Physics 262 or something like that. Or it's 201, which is like, hey, we're not messing around. We're really going to teach you physics, type of physics. And so all of the craziness that you hear about the conspiracy theories, they all have explanations in physics. I'm not saying that it's been proven that each and every single conspiracy theorist's point has been completely disproven, but some of them have been. So what are we looking for?
We're doing last minute show prep for the phone to make sure it's ready to go.
Well, what do you need me to... Oh, you need me to plug it in. Well, Mr. Producer.
He was supposed to set.
He's pointing at the PA, so I'm looking at one of thousands of knobs, but that's not what he was looking for.
He was supposed to have set it all up before we even
name a guy as early as they named Brian
Who's
Hoyer
playing?
the starter.
What?
And then to think that
Who's
through
talking?
basically three
Do we
quarters
have-
of football.
do we have- is it
that's
from
all
your
you
phone?
needed to see before you're ready to go to Ryan Mallett?
It was from your phone. What do you got
What?
playing on your phone?
What?
Woo!
Woo! I'm glad we caught that in time. While we're getting emotional, remembering 9/11.
Was that a caller?
That was Glenn Beck. He said that he was never going to do radio again, and so we brought him on.
Okay.
He actually did say something like that.
No, he's always saying
Plays
stupid
that
stuff.
get you back.
I see what
We're
it is.
still playing.
No, my phone automatically opens iHeartRadio when you plug it in.
What?
That's a problem.
Well, we just plugged somebody. Whoever's show that is, you owe us. Okay? You owe us.
Big time.
That was a freebie, though. That's a freebie.
So, how do you stop these millennials? I mean, they're millennials. How do you get through to these millennials who, one, honestly, wholeheartedly love to believe in conspiracy theories because it's fun,
There's something strange about that, isn't there?
right? And two, they don't care. They oh, well, that was 9/11, whatever. No, dude, you don't understand. That was my generation's Pearl Harbor. I'll go as far as to say that.
Oh, of course.
That was
Absolutely.
our Pearl Harbor. And what did we do after that? Well, we got Obama, and we pull all the troops out during the war. We are currently in the middle of one of the largest wars we've ever fought right now.
Oh, 1,000 years from now, 1,000. This is going to be looked back on as the beginnings of it could be 100 years, it could be several decades, probably ongoing for 1,000 years. The big Christian/Muslim Great War.
Right.
If there's a world war within the next 30 years, it's going to actually be Muslims versus Christians. Whereas World War II, a lot of people say, what is it, the fascists versus the socialists or whatever, and then you got America just kind of being thrown in there. Well, this war, this World War III, and believe me, we haven't even scratched the surface of this thing.
No.
But we are in it. It's just a matter of what's going to happen with it. Is it going to be put off to a later date, or is this going to be looked back on history as the things that led up to it?
Right. Well, and you've got Obama, and some of the articles that come out throughout the whole week. Breitbart posted this one for Obama and the left. Never forget is bull. Boop. And they in the op-ed piece he wrote, President Obama has spent years crippling the American military. The U.S. Army has been cut to 450,000 active duty soldiers. The Democrats have mandated massive military cuts in every budget negotiation. If you can Google it, you can go on the net, you can find all these retired generals. You find all kinds of military personnel that'll tell you that the amount of budget cuts, the amount of cuts to the military has been crippling.
Well, people think, liberals think, progressives, communists, whatever you want to call them, American communists, because, the communists in the Soviet Union, they had no problem with military buildup. No problem at all. They understood it to be an integral part of the defense and survival of their ideology.
Right.
And progressives in America, communists in America, think that military is kind of a use of force that actually causes a reaction, a violent reaction among people.
Right.
So just the presence of military might that would make us, the most powerful nation in the world will be looked upon by everybody as, oh, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Oh, you think you're so big and bad? Well, let's humble you. And and that's where you get the 9/11 apologists. Because they're like, well, you asked for it. You were building up military, weren't you? Well, what did you expect them to do? Sit back and watch you build up a powerful military? So that's what their reaction is.
Wow. Well, I got Rush Limbaugh was talking about that this week, and it's amazing the day before 9/11, so September 10th. Did the math there real quick. Why are you looking at me like that?
There's smoke coming out of my... I'm doing the math. There's smoke coming out of my ears.
The Senate, the U.S. Senate, which we talked about this last week, the Senate actually is the one who passes treaties and needs nobody's permission.
And why are we calling it a deal? Why are we calling it a deal?
The Iran deal. Everybody, all media, the entire media,
Fox News,
everybody.
They're calling it a deal.
So don't tell me, people, that Fox News is in it for Republicans, because they're not.
Or they could be admitting it by ignorance because of their ignorance of the situation.
Right.
I mean,
it's very, very, very possible.
Should we explain this? Why it's called a deal by the media and the left, and why it's supposed to be called a treaty, and what legal ramifications it has?
Because if it was referred to as a treaty, the Senate, and only the Senate...
Wait, who says this? Who says?
Well, it's because the Constitution.
So this is written
in the Constitution.
That
the Founding Fathers, and this is not quote word for word, but the Founding Fathers...
Paraphrase it. Go ahead and paraphrase it.
said that the President of the United States, with and by the Senate, pass treaties. And
you need like 2/3 of the approval of Congress in order to
make this even happen.
Right. Or else it's not a treaty. It won't happen.
Right.
It's not agreed upon, and that's it.
And there's a good reason why the Founding Fathers said you need 66% of the vote.
And so,
because it's very, very hard.
Okay, so what happened with the Corker bill then? Which, by the way, isn't he a Republican?
Yes, he is a Republican.
I'm probably going to get hauled off. The NSA is listening right now, but I just want to punch him in the face.
And a Democrat who is currently under criminal investigation for felony charges of sorts and all kinds of criminal activities.
Let's just say he's completely innocent of everything.
No, that's Corker's friend, the Democrat.
Oh, the Democrat.
There's no Democrat that's innocent of anything. They're all guilty.
That's true. They're guilty. As soon as you put that D on their name, Guilty of something.
Right. You're like, what did you do? You robbed a bank, didn't you? Well,
Wow, he's being blackmailed, and that's why.
He's like, well, in order to get in the Democrat club, I had to go knock over the 7-Eleven.
Or else they wouldn't have accepted it. 'cause
Correct.
They wouldn't have believed that he was down.
Tough enough.
Down with
it's
the
a
struggle.
Gang. It's a gang.
Yeah.
So
initiated.
So Corker and this other dude, they put together this bill, which is insanity because that the House, that Congress has nothing to do with treaties ever. It's not their job. Yet they put a bill together. They voted on the bill to the bill, in essence, in short, bypasses the Senate and gives all the power to Obama.
And here's how
that's
here's how
what
it
it
is.
does.
The Constitution says for a treaty, you need the president can make a treaty, but it doesn't become a finished treaty
Right.
until Congress gives 2/3.
Senate does. Yeah, the Senate votes on it. Right.
They say 2/3. The Corker bill makes it so that Obama can go run around and essentially make a treaty.
By the way, the president can veto, if he feels like it, the Senate, but it doesn't mean anything in the Constitution.
Okay. So the Corker bill allows the president to go and do, and I'm using air quotes, a treaty.
Right.
And I'll tell you why I'm using air quotes in a minute. And then once he's done making this agreement, treaty with
Deal.
with whatever country, he then can only be stopped with 2/3 of a vote against him
Right.
by the Senate.
So it's opposite. It's
the
harder.
opposite. So
It's
now-
harder to stop him than it
Pretty
is
much
to let him
impossible.
go.
You pretty much have to have a mutiny in
Right.
the Senate in order to prevent Obama from doing something now. Now, here's the key. Here's where the air quotes came in. When asked, some of these Republicans, when asked why on earth they would do something this stupid,
Right.
their response was, well, we did it with the understanding that this doesn't apply to actual treaties, but only deals and agreements that are non-binding. And I'm like, wait a minute. What is a non-binding deal?
So they're making a deal with the largest state of terror, recognized, by the way, by Canada. Canada recognizes Iran
As
a terrorist nation.
how did we were?
Canada?
What happened to the axis of evil and all that?
Canada knows. They know that they're an axis of evil, but apparently we don't
Well,
know.
we did until Obama took over and he said, whoa. They're my Muslim brothers.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Right.
If they're communist or Muslim, I'm down with the struggle. That's pretty much what he said. Right. So anyway, so now they gave Obama all this power. He goes and does this treaty, not deal, but treaty. It's a deal, but it's also a treaty.
Right. It's a treaty deal.
Right.
Right.
It's a deal that's also a treaty.
Correct.
And he says, well, you guys gave me permission to do this, and the only way you can take it away from me is with 2/3 of a vote against it. And by the way, if you do that, I'll go ahead and veto that, and then you're going to need 99. You're going to need to recruit people to vote it against me.
But didn't you just say that Brian told you that if the president vetoes that it doesn't matter? Well, yeah, in the real world, it doesn't matter. But in this Corker
Non-binding,
it gives the president veto power, which is it gives him veto power against the Senate, which in the Constitution, the Senate the veto power doesn't affect them whatsoever.
I think I said it in
the Senate has the power.
In the last week's episode, I talked about Louis Gohmert, how he came on and he tried to defend his decision to go ahead and vote on this for the Corker bill. This is inexcusable. I mean, what point is it? What point are we making? How are we improving the way we do business in American government?
Right.
By letting the president do a non-binding agreement without 2/3. It's a non-binding agreement. It's like saying, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and sort of verbalize this, but don't make no never mind because
right. Don't make no never mind.
Because it's not binding, so I may change my mind.
Right.
Why are we even going down it's like, hey, you see that river over there? Let's throw 200,000 truckloads of mud in it and just muddy it up.
Right.
Just why? Why? Well, because it looks like it needs mud. That
That does not make sense.
It's literally what they're doing. They're literally muddying the water, making things confusing for no reason other than to make things more confusing. That's literally what's going on.
So if you're sitting out there in Radio Land and you're saying, Carrie, Brian, why are you guys so against this Iran deal treaty? Well, just briefly, just letting you know, just giving you a heads up. The Ayatollah Khomeini is a very, very evil, bad man.
Well, he's evil to us because he wants to destroy us.
Yeah, he wants to kill innocent people who don't mean him no harm. We don't mean him no harm. Just don't hurt us, but he will kill us. Okay, so, and they are a sponsor of, one of the largest sponsors of terror in the world, so we don't want to perpetuate that. This week, the Ayatollah came out in a statement and said, after this, by the way, backtrack, September 10th, the Senate handed Obama his first win of the Iran deal. The Senate said, go ahead. Senate said, green light. Green light.
And hurried up because we only have till tomorrow before September 11th again.
Right.
So we want to go ahead and have us nuked
So
by
the day
tomorrow,
before September 11th, the Senate went ahead, green lighted. Okay, now, right after that happened, the Ayatollah, who runs, he's the imam, the religious leader of Iran, he came out in a statement and said, I guarantee you, Israel will no longer exist within the next 25 years. I guarantee you that Israel will not exist within the next 25 years.
But he wasn't saying that before the deal. So it's almost as if he can only say that now that we've pretty much helped him.
Right. They have a yearly parade that they march through the streets or the Capitol or whatever, a yearly parade. It's an anti-America, anti-West, kill us all parade. Mm-hmm. And while they were negotiating, John Urang Kerry was negotiating with his son-in-law, who, well, I don't know, that wouldn't be a son-in-law, the best man at his daughter's wedding. He was negotiating with him because he's the leader of the Iran negotiation team.
Sounds like a bunch of nepotism to me.
Oh, yeah. So while they were talking back and forth, the Ayatollah was having this parade, kill the West. While they're negotiating the nuclear agreement. Nuclear.
Did you say nuclear?
Nuclear.
I think it's nuclear.
How did Bush?
That's exactly how you said it. Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Okay. So anyway,
While they're negotiating this deal that will give Iran $150 billion plus. Another article came out this week. American taxpayers, by June 2016, American taxpayers will have given Iran 41 million American tax dollars. Million or billion? Million?
oh, I'm sure it's billions at least.
It might be 41 billion. I'll have them look up on that. Because here's what happened. During the negotiations, they would stall. And Iran would get up and walk out and say, we're done. We ain't getting what we want. We're crying. We're going home. And John Kerry would be like, whoa.
Please don't leave. Wait. I got more. I got more duffel bags.
Right. That's exactly what it was. So John Kerry had to pay the troll a toll to get him back to the table. They literally, every time Iran got up and walked out, John Kerry and Obama would write a check to get them, entice them to come back to the table just to talk. By the time it's all done and said, and these 2 years that they've been negotiating, we will have given them almost $41 billion just to talk to us.
All right, so there's a couple of theories as to the motivation of the rhinos that pushed for this to go through. But do you have any idea what possible motive the Democrats would have to make sure that this happens? We don't get anything out of it.
No, nothing. Other than Democrats circle the wagons for themselves. They support themselves on everything no matter what. They're blind. They're stupid. They're
Yeah, but
dumb.
what's their motivation for doing this?
Because later on, when they want something crazy and absurd, it will be supported by the rest of them because that's just how they roll.
Yeah, but why would they initiate this? Why would they say,
Well, Obama's pushing it.
Let's make sure. Let's get the Iran. Let's get them nukes.
Right. That's a very good question.
I almost
Kerry.
feel like it's a vindictive revenge against Netanyahu because he just doesn't like him. He's like, I'm going to get him. This is Obama talking. I'm going to get him, man. I hate him so much. I'm going to figure something out. And then he just starts randomly making calls with the right area codes in the Middle East. Like, is somebody there that can take some nukes? Wow. Because we need vengeance on Israel.
Fit to be tied. That's funny that you asked
That's
the question.
Only thing.
Rush Limbaugh has an answer to your question.
Oh, really? He has a theory behind the Democrats because there were a couple of callers into his show this week that gave theories as to why the Republicans would be on board and actually help them.
Well, it's not. He doesn't actually. Well, I'll just play it now. Bear with me, folks. We've got a new system of playing things.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
can't wait to hear how this rolls.
And you can hear us in the background talking freely.
And we will all the time.
Let's see how this goes.
Despite the best efforts of who knows how many people, the inexplicable has happened. On the day before the 14th anniversary of 9/11, the United States Senate sustained the Iranian nuclear deal, freeing Barack Hussein Obama to lift sanctions on the Iranian regime, which will, for the most part, immediately provide them with between $100 and $150 billion. It can now be said that the United States Senate, and we would not be inaccurate to emphasize Senate Democrats, although the Republicans are as complicit. This is just, it's inexplicable.
Sounds like
The
he
whole
doesn't
thing
know.
is
No.
inexplicable.
Right.
There is so much that doesn't make any sense anymore.
Does he have?
So much in our politics that's happening every day that doesn't make sense to people anymore. Although, and no matter how artful you are at explaining it, it still doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it appears that we've lost patriots. It appears our government is not filled with patriots anymore. That's what's inexplicable. I mean, you can explain the Trump phenomenon. You can explain a lot, but you can't make sense of the United States President and the United States Senate assisting the world's leading terrorist regime securing nuclear weapons. You can't explain that.
So that's it. He just can't explain it.
No.
So does anybody have a theory?
Yeah, there is one theory.
Well, I can tell you.
You keep talking while I find the theory.
So there's got to be something. Oh, somebody's got to give a theory. So what's the phone number?
It's 772-49 Smith, SMYTH. 772-49.
That's so weird.
SMYTH.
I mean, the only thing, if I start throwing out a theory, it just sounds so conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat. I mean, it's like he really is Muslim. He really is a sleeper cell. We jokingly talked about that kind of stuff for years, but it was kind of tongue in cheek and ha ha ha. He's a sleeper cell.
And I don't want to sound like that kook crackpot wearing the not the tinfoil hat, wearing the strainer, the tin strainer,
Right,
For the
because
news.
that actually filters the frequencies out a little bit better.
Correct.
Certain frequencies. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, and I'm not. Folks, listen. You all know us. You know us well. We're not that guy.
Yeah, we're going to try to run for the mayor of Realville pretty soon here.
Okay, so you know how I play that clip and we talk about it all the time about Johnny Cochran?
the supposed jury?
I got Johnny Cochran's answer to the Iranian deal.
Okay.
It's the version. So this, in all honesty, this is good for tongue-in-cheek humor, kind of lighten the mood a little bit. But this is Johnny Cochran on South Park giving the full layout
All right.
from
The Rand deal?
from
Beyond the
OJ.
Grave.
OJ.
From Beyond the Grave.
From Beyond the Grave.
I'm about to go out for my...
No.
Cochran has appeared to defend capitalist records. The question now is, will Cochran use his famous Chewbacca defense?
What's a Chewbacca defense? I don't know. That's what Cochran used in the O.J. Simpson trial. God damn, I hate that Cochran guy. If he was here in front of me, I'd be like, hey, you stupid son of a bitch! You didn't... I'm going to kick you in the nuts!
What?
I'm sure that would scare the hell out of him, Cartman.
No, they're watching
and so,
TV.
in summation,
They're watching
ladies
TV.
and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the version of My Client's song recorded over 20 years ago. You've heard the exact same song produced by these cheats in the past month. I'd say it's pretty much an open and shut case. Make the right decision. Thank you.
That was a juror. That was a juror clapping.
Mr. Johnny Cochran, your closing arguments.
Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen of the supposed jury, this attorney would certainly want you to believe that his client wrote Stinky Britches 10 years ago, and they make a good case. Hell, I almost felt pity myself. But ladies and gentlemen of this supposed jury, I have one final thing I want you to consider. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chewbacca. Chewbacca
shows a
is a
picture of
Wookiee
him.
from the planet Kishik, but Chewbacca lives on the planet Endor. Now
Okay.
think about that. That does not make sense.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, not at all.
Damn it. What? He's using the Chewbacca defense.
Why would a Wookiee, an 8-foot-tall Wookiee, want to live on Endor with a bunch of 2-foot-tall Ewoks? That does not make
No,
sense.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
But more importantly, you have to ask yourself, what does this have to do with this case?
Yeah.
Nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with this case. It does not make sense. Look at me. I'm a lawyer defending a major record company, and I'm talking about Chewbacca. Does that make sense? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not making any sense. None of this makes sense. And so you have to remember, when you're in that jury room deliberating and conjugating the Emancipation Proclamation,
What?
does it make sense? No. Ladies and gentlemen of this supposed jury, it does not make sense. If Chewbacca lives on Endor, you must acquit.
Oh.
Rest.
Wow. That's a good defense.
Okay, then.
That's the judge.
Wow, he's good.
Teary-eyed courtroom, Johnny Cochran has just finished his closing arguments, and as was anticipated, he did use the Chewbacca defense. Whether or not it worked is up to the jury to decide.
How find you the jury?
We find the defendant, Jerome Chef McElroy, guilty as charged.
Whoops.
Whoops!
Mr. Chef, you've been found guilty of harassing a major record label. The full fee of $2 million will be handed over within 24 hours.
Do I look like I have $2 million?
Well, you have 24 hours to find it, or else you have to go to jail for 8 million years.
It's actually for 4 years.
Oh, sorry. You'll go to jail for 4 years.
This can't be happening.
Oh, no, dude. Chef's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
So the Chewbacca defense did not work.
No. He was arguing to throw Chef in jail.
Oh, he was on the other side.
So it did work. It did work.
Wow.
The fact that Chewbacca... See, we should have the House and the Senate educated by South Park.
Yes.
They should have thrown out the Chewbacca defense to Obama. Really messing
Well,
up.
they definitely used the Chewbacca defense to argue for making this treaty with Iran.
Treaty.
Yes, I used the T word.
Treaty.
So getting back to the is that a tangent? I don't even know. So
That was entertainment.
okay, I can buy that. So there's been some okay, so let's back up. In order for this treaty to happen through the power of Obama's new power,
Right.
the Corker bill needed to happen.
Right.
Now, why they went ahead and pushed through this ridiculous Corker bill, which gives Obama more power, is this. The Republicans know that Obama is going to be gone soon and that he will be replaced with Republicans. That's what they're thinking. And I think that everybody can agree with that.
Except
Nobody
me.
wants... What?
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree that Republicans are going to replace the Democrats this next...
Obama's going to executive order
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
and push off the elections
He's
so
gonna
that he
just-
can maintain civility in America.
Oh,
The economy's falling apart.
Is there a name for it?
Race wars. It has something to do with the 22nd Amendment.
Well, I will tell you this. Never let a crisis go to waste.
No.
So we need to create as many crises as possible. So, okay, let's assume...
That doesn't happen, right?
No, it can happen. But let's assume that the Republicans... what the Republicans say is... or what they think is accurate.
Okay.
Or what I say they think is accurate.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. So they feel like if we can give the president... the presidency, the office of president, as much power as humanly possible, then look at all the power we'll have when we get elected next year.
Exactly.
That's what they're doing.
Yes.
It is the most convoluted, unconstitutional. It's what they did. The Patriot Act is a good example of why this is such a dumb thing to do. They did the Patriot Act. All the conservatives and Republicans were all like, hey, you should like the Patriot Act because, number one, it keeps us safe. And number two, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what do you have to worry about?
You know, and I was on that boat. I'm like, I'm not doing nothing wrong.
I know.
And I was young. I was in my teens.
Right. Yes, you were. So
in my mind, I was.
Right. And you were a good little boy. So you were like, ain't going to come for me.
I got my gun. I got my gun and my Bible.
They won't come for me because I'm not a terrorist. They're going to go after the terrorists. Well, then Obama, the anti-American communist, comes along and is like, oh, you mean I have the power to do all kinds of unconstitutional things to Americans that don't agree with me? Yes, I will go ahead and take my option to do that.
Right.
And that's what Obama did, and that was thanks to the Republicans because of the Patriot Act. So they're doing it again, but while Barack Obama's president. And then he used it against him by pretty much selling America down the river by giving Iran nukes. So that's why they passed the Corker bill. Now, the next question is, why would they support him on this Iran nuke deal?
Money?
No. It's more power. Check this theory out.
All right.
Get your tinfoil hats on, peoples.
I'm ready.
You don't even need to have that much of a tinfoil hat. I mean, this is pretty accurate.
Will my aluminum foil hat work?
You could put a plastic foil hat on.
I got a plastic bag. It's tied around my. It's on my face.
Okay, you got the plastic on your face. All right. So basically, the Republicans want to give Obama all the leeway to make this quote treaty, quote deal, quote whatever you want to call it. It's treaty though. So that because the understanding is that they have already conceded to Iran getting a nuke. They feel like there's nothing they can do to prevent them from getting a nuke. Nothing.
What?
Both sides. So if we know that they're going to get a nuke, that if we allow Obama this deal later on down the road when they get it, or use it on Israel, that blood will be on his hands.
That is insane.
And then there's one more theory, and this was from a caller to the Rush Limbaugh show. He said that America and their NSA/CIA and all that have discovered that they already have a bomb. And so they went and said, look, guys, our intelligence has found that you guys have already have a bomb. If we shower you with trillions and trillions of dollars, can you put off using it until the Republicans get elected in 2016?
None of this makes sense.
Think about it. You're Obama. You're the Democrat.
That's making my head explode.
Yeah, you're Obama. Oh. You find out, and the Republicans don't know because
I got blood shooting out of my eyes.
Right. The Republicans don't know because Obama is the one with all the intelligence coming from the CIA. He's the president.
Right.
He gets some CIA guy coming into the Oval Office and say, Mr. President, Iran's got a nuke.
Uh-oh. So what do we do?
All right, check this out. We might be able to get them to push off nuking Israel, but we're going to have to really shower them. Yeah, but it's not going to make any sense if they know that we're paying them to not use the nuke. No. We're going to have them keep quiet, not let anybody know they have it. and we're gonna pay them to push off any knowledge of this until after you're out of office.
That's kind of funny that you say that. There's some new evidence come out this week.
Oh, don't tell me, because this was high level conspiracy theory there.
Okay, this is gonna make you sick.
Oh no!
Breaking news, hot off the press.
Oh, it just got handed to you.
Reuters reporting out of Dubai. Iran has discovered an unexpectedly high reserve of uranium and will soon begin extracting the radioactive element at a new mine.
Oh, they just now found this.
Yes. The head of the Iran Atomic Energy Organization said on Saturday, yesterday, folks, when everybody's out partying and nobody's watching the news, the comments cast doubt on previous assessments from some Western analysis who said the country had a very low supply and would sooner or later need to start to import uranium, the raw material needed for its nuclear program. And
they're just now figuring this out.
Yesterday.
Oh, isn't that convenient?
Any indication...
Yesterday? What is this?
Any indication Iran could become more self-sufficient will be closely watched by world powers, which reached a landmark deal with Tehran in July over its program. They had feared the nuclear activities were aimed at acquiring the capability to produce nuclear weapons, some denied by Tehran. Quote, this is from the Iranian minister Akbar Ali Shakashi. I cannot announce the level of Iran's nuclear mine, not too optimistic, but the new discoveries have made us confident about our reserves. Yeah, we're good.
And they're just now announcing that they just found this. How many days after this?
3, 4. What, Tuesday? Wednesday?
This was all
Friday,
scheduled. This
days.
was literally scheduled.
Day 4.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you want to hear what Ted Cruz had to say about all this?
Sure.
Okay. Ted Cruz was giving a speech this week, giving a little pep talk about he's running for president, and he wanted to get everybody's attention on this Iran deal.
Now back to Washington, D.C. is Ted Cruz taking this.
Oh, by the way, I left that news reporter in there because she just sounded so calm and so...
Matter of fact, oh, by the way, I got to get to this piece of the news.
There's a bunch of Republican Tea Partiers, teabaggers in Washington, D.C., putting up a fight.
Did she sigh?
Yes, she did. She did. Sighed about putting up a fight on this Iran deal.
Stage here at the podium for this huge rally for conservatives there as they are wanting to thwart the nuclear agreement. It's pretty much a done deal.
She did.
Let's take a quick listen.
The Obama administration will become, quite literally, the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism.
If that doesn't make your stomach turn and about ready to throw up in your mouth, you are not awake. You're dead.
Yeah,
you have no pulse.
The whole thing for the past 14 years was, who is the state sponsors of terror? Now it's literally us. It's not hyperbole. We are the state sponsor of terror now.
Okay.
If it goes through, $100 billion will flow directly to Iran, to the Ayatollah Khamenei. And billions of those dollars will go directly to Hamas, to Hezbollah, to the Houthis, to radical Islamic terrorists across the world. And those jihadists will use those billions to murder Americans, to murder Israelis, to murder Europeans.
Okay, all those names that he named out, those are just different sects, if you will, of terrorist organizations. And if you want to make it simple on yourself, just put them all under the umbrella of ISIL, ISIS, ICE, whatever.
The second consequence of this catastrophic deal is that it abandons 4 American hostages in an Iranian hellhole, including Pastor Saeed Abedini, an American citizen, a Christian pastor, sentenced to 8 years in prison for the crime of preaching the gospel, including former Marine Amir Hekmati, including Washington Post reporter Jason Rezaian, including Bob Levinson, It is a disgrace for this administration to abandon Americans in Iranian hellholes. But the third consequence of this deal going through, if it does, is that it will facilitate and accelerate the nation of Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. There is no greater threat to the safety and security of America. There is no greater threat to the safety and security of Israel than a nuclear Iran. I agree with Prime Minister Netanyahu that a nuclear Iran poses an existential threat to the nation of Israel. And let me be clear, when he says existential, he doesn't mean a bunch of Frenchmen in black berets chain smoking. He means literally going to the very existence of Israel. When Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed a joint session of Congress, a joint session that President Obama boycotted, that Vice President Biden boycotted, that every member of the cabinet boycotted. I participated in a panel discussion with Elie Wiesel, the Nobel laureate, the Holocaust survivor. And Elie Wiesel observed the one threat on the face of the earth capable of murdering 6 million Jews in an instant, in a flash of light, is a nuclear Iran. Elie Wiesel observed, never again means never again.
I'll now recognize Mr.
No, I don't want to be that guy. We aren't that guy. I'm not that guy calling out people. Oh, there's another Hitler. There's another Hitler. Oh, you're Hitler. Like they did Bush. Like they do everybody. But this is really, really real. Like I don't know how many times I have to say this is really, really, really real.
Yeah, and the thing about the comparisons between Iranian leaders and Hitler is that they both called out the destruction of large groups of people.
Right.
So I don't know why all of a sudden, it's amazing. You know, when we were growing up, we learned all about how, you know, you can't appease people like Hitler and you have to fight back against tyrants like Stalin and any other evil, you know, Mussolini, all these evil people. You got to fight back and you got to win. And when you do win, then, you know, you just got to watch out for the next one and not give them all, you know, we're talking about people that are clearly evil. I don't know how you can get enough credibility to let a country like America and all of its allies be on board with giving you nukes when you're going around saying that we are dedicated to the destruction of, let's say, I don't know, Israel.
Right.
After people like Hitler in the past dedicated himself to the destruction of all the Jews in Europe, and we were just like, well, maybe he'll make him happier and he won't be so angry if we go ahead and let him take over, you know, whichever countries he started with. What was it, Poland first?
Right.
Czechoslovakia or whoever. And you saw what happened, and to see history repeat itself is just it just makes me worry about the future of humanity. It's like, do we just keep repeating history over and over again? Is that what we're doing? Is it ever going to stop? Can we ever? Is there ever a generation? Here's the big question. You ready for the big, like,
how big is big?
Big question.
Yeah, I'm ready.
What generation is going to convince the next that you shouldn't do this, and this? Because this is what's going to happen. It's just like a sucker is born every second. They're like, yeah, well, times have changed. We're not like you old fuddy-duddies. We got this. You don't worry, Gramps. You don't worry, Gramps. We got this, dude. And then, and here we go. Here we go again. When is there going to be a generation that, and I'm not, believe me, this is not a criticism of any one generation. They've all failed. All these young whippersnappers come along and they think that they're going to be different. We're not going to make the same mistakes as Gramps did because we're smarter. We're more evolved. And then they go and they go down the road.
I think when we stop having the federal government illegally teaching all our children.
No propagandizing.
Yeah.
It's education camps.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you get out of line, you'll have to go to a re-education camp.
And what Brian is referring to is the Department of Education. It is an education camp, and it is teaching your children, my children. If you go to a private school, they, I don't know if it's blackmail or coercion. What would you call it when you have a private school, you're trying to run it, and the only way you can make it work is one of two ways. You can either agree to the government's demands on what they teach you. What do they call that?
Common Core. Oh, the curriculum.
Yeah, curriculum. Either you agree to their entire curriculum, which, by the way, what is a school? It's basically a building with chairs and tables and pencils and books in it. But what it really is a collection that constitutes a curriculum. And the curriculum is what basically, it's systematic education of children. The teachers are just there to walk you through the curriculum.
Facilitate.
Yeah, they're there to facilitate the curriculum. You know, if the teachers don't make up their own curriculum, then all they're doing is regurgitating what the curriculum is. When the government comes in and says, you must do this curriculum, then you're just a government school. It doesn't matter that you happen to be doing the books, the paperwork on the back end through a system of capitalism. It doesn't matter. You're doing the communist curriculum.
Right.
All right. So what difference does it make whether you do a private school? Oh, you have two choices. The one choice is you go with the communist curriculum of Common Core, which is just now your child is a part of the re-education camp.
Right. They are taught to hate, absolutely despise math because numbers don't make sense. And then they will also be taught
racism.
Taught racism, and they'll learn how to hate to read because they will be taught in high school that the reading material will be government manuals.
Okay. I didn't know that, but I believe
Who wants to sit down and read a government manual?
Yeah, I don't.
That's what they'll read. So
Okay.
they'll hate reading.
All
and
right.
they'll hate math.
I'm not going to oppose that. So that's one choice. Either go down that road, or you can come up with your own curriculum, and you don't get any of the massive federal funding, which, by the way, is just taken from everybody, from all states, all 50 states. So if you have a more wealthy state that's doing well with their capitalism, they get a lot more of the money taken out of that state and redistributed to the other states in the form of Common Core education. They're literally giving, let's say, private schools. The public schools, they run from scratch anyway. But private schools, they'll say, look, we'll give you thousands and thousands of dollars, which will then ensure that your tuition is low.
Right.
Only if you go with our Common Core curriculum. Or you can reject our Common Core curriculum, which would effectively double the tuition for all your kids. None of the parents could afford that. And one of the reasons they can't afford it is because part of their paycheck is being taken out in order to fund the blackmail money, if you will, to make all the rest of the schools in the country go along with Common Core. That is what it means when we say that massive taxes on the rich and wealthy are taking away freedoms and empowering the government to have control over everybody. You have no choice but to go along with Common Core.
Right. Something that I know for a fact that Jeb Bush is down with Common Core. He's cool. And
Absolutely he is.
And then I looked up, I knew back in the day, Mike Huckabee was down for Common Core.
Oh, that's the big criticism with them.
But
if
now,
it wasn't for that...
They call him Flip-Flop-A-Bee. Flip-Flop-A-Bee.
Okay, here's the thing about Flip-Flop-A-Bee.
Flip-Flop-A-Bee.
Here's the thing. If you have to flip-flop because you got it that wrong, I have to worry about your intellect.
Yeah, if you originally were down for the killing and the murdering of Jews during World War II, and then you say, I
thought it was right.
I changed my mind, man.
I thought what we were doing was good. But now that I realize...
Well, Brian, that's not the same. You're talking about school curriculum and not. Maybe he just didn't understand. Okay, if you didn't understand it, then you shouldn't come out and take a position on it.
There you go. Learn more about it before you take a position.
Right.
But I don't know why it takes a complete misunderstanding of what's going on to come out and, unless you're communist. If you're communist, you got to go full-blown support on Common Core.
Right.
If you're not a communist, in order to support it, you have to misunderstand what it really is down to its core.
Right.
So,
in New York, Mayor Bill, I am a full-fledged red diaper baby communist de Blasio. That's the mayor. And it didn't make no bones about it.
oh yeah, total communist.
He came out in dishonoring 9/11.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this week, he came out, Bill de Blasio announced the largest school district in the country will add 2 Muslim holidays. Eid al-Adha and to the school holiday schedule. The mayor announced the policy at a Brooklyn public school where 36% of its students were absent the last time Eid occurred.
EID, explosive improvised something.
Destruction.
Yeah. Al-Adha. I think that's what it's called.
Okay. Eid al-Adha.
Adha. Adha.
Adha.
Actually, it might be pronounced.
Okay, probably. But 36% of the students were missing the day that this occurred. The program will begin in the school year that starts in September. This is quote, this is about respect from one of the greatest faiths on this earth. Either the child went and pursued his education and missed his religious observance, or the other way around. That is the kind of choice that was wrong to have to make for these families. Bill de Blasio said, respects the diversity of our city. What? And he did this apparently the day of 9/11, the day before 9/11. I mean, he did right there.
Well, is there that many Muslims in his school?
Well, they're shipping them in. There was a flight that was actually stopped at the border. It was an airplane full of refugees.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're flying them in.
Oh boy. So is that a good segue into our refugee section?
I got one last soundbite. Trump said something about the Rand deal, and we can move on.
Okay, all right.
Old Trumpity Trumper. I hope the sound bites are coming off good. Does it sound good to you?
I don't know. Sounds good to me. I can hear them through my headset.
Okay.
Radio silence. What are you looking for?
5A.
I've been making lots of wonderful deals, great deals. That's what I do. Never, ever, ever in my life have I seen any transaction so incompetently negotiated as our deal with Iran.
Treaty.
They will not let Israel survive with incompetent leadership like we have right now. Israel will not survive.
Here it comes.
And then when it's all done, or they think it's all done, we're going to get nothing. Nothing. We are led by very, very stupid people. Very, very stupid people.
That's the payoff right there.
We cannot let it continue.
Very stupid.
Very, very, very stupid people.
Ever.
So as long as you now know how stupid the people are, then we can move on.
I like that he can get away with that kind of language because stupid does have a meaning.
Oh.
It's not just ad hominem attacks. It's not name calling. Stupid has a definition, and sometimes the Iran deal. Come on, then that's exactly what he's talking about. You cannot come to the conclusion Well, you can come to one of two conclusions. I like dichotomies.
Ooh, dichotomy.
The one conclusion is that these people that made this treaty are stupid, or they're actively they're actual agents of Islam that are trying to defeat America and gain a victory for Iran over America. And you could see they're They're flying into New York City to the point where we have to give the kids days off from school in order to observe their Muslim holidays. They're actively. You know what Rush said about the refugees this week? I guess we're going straight to refugees, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why now?
Yeah.
The excuse is all these wars and ISIS coming in and murdering people, and it's dangerous and blah, blah, blah. And now we have this refugee crisis. Well, what about the other months and months and months that this was going on? Months and months has been going on. Suddenly, out of the blue, a bunch of military-age males are flooding into Europe for refugee status.
Right, and I had a back and forth with some knuckleheads screaming at me, "What about the children?" So you know what John McCain did? Last week I had this article, and it was so heart-wrenching. I don't think we got to it, but it was so heart-wrenching. We talked about it. One of the blue helmet guys was on the beach with a notepad and a pen, looking at all the bodies that had washed up on the beach because they were trying to flee from Syria. So they got in a boat going to Turkey, and the boat capsized. It's really, really bad water. You can't float a 57 Chevy on those waters. Not like you can from Cuba to America.
Right.
You can do that, but these waters are really bad. So many boats capsized, and there was I'm getting choked up even thinking about it. There was a little boy, probably about 2, a little bit older than my boy. It's about 2. And when I looked at him, I was like, oh, that's almost the size of my son.
The one that was washed up?
Face down in the sand.
Yeah.
And the guy was just kind of just right. Okay, another number.
Oh, we got one. Check.
John McCain used that picture to push to receive more refugees. John McCain, your Republican and mine.
Well, and get your tinfoil hat on, because the theory is that it's a Trojan horse.
It's a big. I don't even know if it's a theory. I think it almost might even be fact now. But here's what's going on: Great Britain, Germany, and the Middle East. You got Romania, Czech Republic, Austria, Hungary. You got all the Serbs and Croatia. All of that right there in the middle. ISIS has moved into Syria and is taking over Syria. Not only that, but Russia just built a huge air base and is starting to fly sorties out of Syria. So Russia is officially supporting and helping the bad people.
ISIS? Okay,
yeah.
That's odd.
So now they're like, you know what? All these poor people that we have here that are Muslim, we need to convince them that you need to go. Because remember, I've talked about this for thousands and thousands of years in the Middle East, the way Muslims in the Middle East taught each other to win the game. You must conquer and destroy. If you were a merchant back in the day, maybe even to this day, in the Muslim culture, if you're a merchant or a capitalist, you are below pig. You are the bottom scum of the earth as a capitalist, as a merchant.
Okay.
Their way of becoming wealthy is conquering and destroying and taking from that other guy.
I see what you're saying. So it's pretty much kind of like that gangster thing. I remember watching Goodfellas, which is based on a true story.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing Henry Hill, the real one.
The real one in the features, the back features.
Yeah, the special features. And he said, we didn't have any respect for money. Back then, whenever we wanted something, we went to wherever it was and took it and dared anybody. It wasn't even a thought that, well, what if they don't let us? Or what if they fight back? That wasn't even a thought in their head.
Right.
It didn't even ever occur to them. When they wanted something, they took it.
Okay, when that happens, folks, you violate other people's freedoms and you're acting in a barbaric, uncivilized manner. In today's society, the wealthiest nation in all of humanity has ever seen in all of written time did not use barbarianism. They used capitalism.
Yeah, that's true.
And
but it takes a team. It's a team effort. Capitalism is a team effort. You have to have everybody agree to certain standards.
Well, you have to have a moral. You have to have a moral culture.
Right.
Putin also said that this week.
You have to have a vast majority of the people in that society agree that, okay, we're not going to just randomly take stuff because we want it.
Right.
And if you try, we're going to go ahead and punish you.
See, if you were in Russia or you were in another country, even Japan, especially even China, if you tried to step out and take something, you might lose a hand.
Well, let's say
law and order.
Let's say Mexico, because Mexico doesn't really have any laws or any government anymore for the most part.
It's a despot.
Is it? Well, I mean,
no, I take that back. I am so sorry. The drug lords are running it.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's how it works when it comes to taking stuff that you want. The strongest person will be the one to get away with it. So if you steal something and there's nobody around that dares to stand up to you, then you're the one that gets to live off of other people by taking from them.
Right. Obama. Nobody's standing up to him.
There you go.
So Putin told Obama in a speech this week, quote, "You're turning America into a godless sewer."
Who said this?
Putin.
A godless sewer. Who's doing it?
Obama.
Oh, wow.
He said you're turning America into a godless sewer.
What does he know about God? He was part of the USSR where religion was outlawed.
I know. I don't get it. Maybe he was touched by an angel.
Godless. You know what, Obama? You're godless.
He blew up on Obama when he said it was green light, good days ahead. Garage and there's your body and by another man. I mean, he came out. Putin came out and said, "What are you?" I'll tell you what, America, you done lost your mind.
You guys have no morals anymore.
You got no. I mean, I know I'm ex-KGB, but we never did that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we never stooped to that level.
Never did. And since you guys went ahead and green-lit Garage...
Or is it Rainbow Lit?
Rainbow Lit Garage. I'm going to go ahead and have a press conference in my country, and I'm going to reaffirm straightness.
Straightness?
Yeah. So he came out, gave a speech, talking about straight. We're straight.
We don't allow that gay marriage.
Don't hate. We're straight.
There you go.
So ISIS is conquer, destroy, and take. They've got hundreds of thousands of these refugees. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are running away because they're deathly afraid of ISIS.
Well, what did ISIS say a couple months ago? They came out, and it was reported, somebody must have leaked this out, that we are going to start peppering these masses of refugees with jihadi operatives, that are going to, be a sleeper cell or a lone wolf or whatever.
And we've talked about this many times before. All of Europe, including Britain, are all socialist, bleeding heart liberals. The whole French, bleeding heart French. So Germany and the Chancellor, Merkel, she's coming out and she's like, okay, we'll take 10,000. 20,000. We'll take thousands. Go ahead, send them.
I thought it was more than that.
Maybe 100,000. We'll take them. And then they're backpedaling. They're giving speeches. The hearts are bleeding for the people. And Great Britain claims that they'll take people too. Everybody's getting on board. And then
bye-bye Europe. Bye-bye
Saudi Arabia came out in a public statement and said, Germany, we will help assist you in receiving these refugees by building exactly 200 mosques in Germany. You let us do that, and we'll help you.
You let us build the mosque.
200 mosques. We'll do it overnight.
And then we'll give you all the help you need.
That's it.
Well, bye-bye, Germany.
China came out and said, America, you need help. You need to take...
Why aren't you taking these terrorists?
China said...
Whoa, what, did I say that?
Right. China said that. And China then followed up with that by saying that, America, you will take refugees up to hundreds of thousands, and we're going to take none. Zero.
Do you know what America did? And we've gotten so
Zero.
much criticism for it. And
internment camps?
No, not internment camps. Because, I mean, you got to do... No! Reservations.
Oh! That's politically incorrect.
Well, we did it. And
how dare you talk
They
about
need to cut out a little chunk of land somewhere outside of Syria and say, there's your reservation.
Oh, I thought you meant a reservation in America. I was trying to think of what state. I'd give them Colorado. Give them Seattle. Give them the city of Seattle. Land them all there in Seattle.
Put a fence. Alaska.
Put a fence around. Oh,
Northern Alaska.
Where there's only one road in and one road out.
You know what we do? We put them in southern Texas.
Oh.
We build a fence along the northern border of this reservation, and every year just push it back a couple feet until it's in Mexico.
We don't know how to build a fence. What are you talking about, fence?
Well, we're going to elect.
It's not
we're going to
possible.
elect Trump.
Oh, he said he can build a wall.
He's going to have the refugees build the wall.
Come to America.
And then make sure that they finish up on the other side.
Right.
And so, be like, hey, they're going to be banging on the door. Let us back in.
Right.
Like, no.
So all these refugees are flooding into Turkey. Turkey has become an absolute mess. They're building walls. Everybody's starting to build walls right away that don't care about what public media says about them. So they're trying to build up walls, build up fences. And in the meantime, you've got Germany and Great Britain, probably some of the other countries. Oh, Italy. They're coming into Italy too by boat.
So pretty much Islam is going to have the Ottoman Empire was nothing compared to what we're about to have.
No, not at all. Benjamin Netanyahu had a meeting this week with the prime ministers of Great Britain, and he stated his belief that Israel and Britain can work together to roll back the tide of militant Islam, both in the Middle East and Africa. Discussions are set to be dominated by the question how to combat the rise of Islamic State, ISIS, in Syria, as well as the nuclear deal recently agreed between UK and its Western allies and Iran. Mr. Netanyahu, who is a better critic of a nuclear agreement, told Mr. Cameron, who's the Prime Minister of Great Britain, quote, "The Middle East is disintegrating under the twin forces of militant Islam, militant Sunnis led by ISIS and militant Shiites led by Iran." Mr. Cameron assured that Israel's Prime Minister of Great Britain remains staunch in our defense of Israel's right to exist and to defend itself. Okay, well, if you think that Israel has the right to exist and defend itself, why are you making it harder for it to exist?
Interesting. Like, oh, yeah, you have a right to exist. Go ahead and work that out. I mean, that's pretty much that.
It's insane.
Well, I mean, it's what you would do if you don't want them there anymore. Everybody has a right to exist, right?
Right.
Except for unless you're in the first or second trimester, then you do not have a right to exist. But
that does not make sense.
Wow, that was so loud. You probably scared everybody.
So now that you're fully awake.
Now that you're awake. Oh, my goodness. Whew.
So we got that set?
Oh, y'all.
Okay, good. We're in.
All right.
So you should be concerned, very, very, very concerned about the immigration, refugees, all of it coming across the news media and all of Europe. Bleeding hearts. They're bleeding hearts.
They come to America and they start throwing out anchor babies.
Whoa. And we did a show on that. So Obama said, where's that Obama thing? Obama said he is going to use his pen executive order, 10,000 minimum. Bring them in right away. 10,000 refugees, bring them in.
There's your next 9/11 right there.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying that, they're Muslims, so they're going to perform terrorist acts on America. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that ISIS has already told us that they are coming up with a plan to sneak in ISIS jihadist terrorists by hiding them within refugees amongst them.
Right.
And then we're going to take in 10,000.
And what was that? What that knucklehead guy on Facebook that was writing back about the post I made said something? You don't understand. There's children involved.
I didn't see that. I thought he was talking about, unless I'm mixing it up with another post, where the government killed their own in 9/11.
Yeah, it's a different post.
Oh, different post. I didn't see the poster that you just referenced.
Yeah, he was blasting it.
What about the children?
Right, there's children. You don't understand. He said half of them coming are children. Oh, yeah, but now that you've got your percentages down, 50% are children and 50% are evil.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you want me to do? You want that? What about our children here in America? What about the children in Europe? What about those children? What about their safety and well-being? I can't control other people and other parents, although I wish I could. Although I wish I could have saved that little boy, brought him to my house, and raised him with my son. Because I would have. I've got an open heart like that. However, I can't go and save all those people. I can't physically do it.
That's what Trump said. Trump said, you know what? That's almost exactly what Trump said. He said, my heart goes out to them, but we got too many problems of our own to solve to be dealing with these people.
Yeah, like outing the dictator in chief, outing the emperor,
and not falling for Trojan horses.
This is the biggest.
I am not letting up on this. This is so obviously a Trojan horse. I mean, the numbers are staggering. There's hardly any women in there. There are some in there, but not very many. There's so many military-age men that are coming out of there.
Right. So you've got ISIS pounding on Iraq, taking over cities in Iraq. You've got ISIS in Syria, which is right next to Iraq, moving north. And then you've got Turkey directly north, touches Iraq and Syria. So ISIS is pushing through Iraq, through Syria, and all the way up into Turkey. Now, below all that is Saudi Arabia, who is, go ahead and fund it and fund it all.
They need to put them in refugee camps and sort it out.
Oh, I'm looking at the map right now. The little ADD thing. Did you hear about Mecca?
No.
The largest mosque in the world.
Well, they have the big stone there or something.
Right. In Mecca. Huge giant mosque. Where these giant cranes that you build them and they just stay there for years to work on something.
Okay.
Guy said that the cranes have all been there. This looked like there's about 20 or 30 or 40 of them all around this huge, enormous building doing work on the building. They've been there for a couple of years. Well, everybody was posting. On 9/11, a freak lightning storm came through, took out one of the cranes, crashed down on top of the mosque, killing dozens and wounding like 200.
I did not hear about that.
And everybody was like, that was God. And they interviewed a guy, one of the engineers that was working on the building. It's like, this was no fault, zero fault. This was no human fault, zero human fault. This was an act of God.
Well, what does that say?
Oh, that's what he said. That's what he said. That's a quote.
But what does that say? What's the message there? That God wants those people dead? Or that he doesn't want this building completed? I mean, that's my interpretation of it.
What would that mean? Well, maybe he might interpret and say, well, they weren't good enough soldiers.
They didn't pray hard enough.
Only God knew. The ones that died weren't good enough soldiers, and the ones that lived injured, that's a reminder.
Oh, they're supposed to spread the word.
Or spread something.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, big giant Trojan horse. It's a shame, and it's a shame that all of Europe is falling into it.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that criticize the idea of Trump becoming president, and I'm talking about conservatives that are like, whoa, we should be careful about what we wish for, blah, blah. But, his stance on immigration with regards to Mexico and all the South American, Central American countries is actually a perfect fit to combat these stupid bleeding heart liberals that are going to let the Trojan horse in the door with the ISIS refugees.
Right. No, absolutely.
We need him because he's the one that's going to be like, oh, hell no. We are not about. I'm already building a wall on the border of Mexico. You're talking about flying in all these people that could very well be blocking, running defense for some of these lone wolf jihadists,
or somebody with a dirty bomb. I mean, that's right around the corner.
No.
Dirty bomb's right around the corner.
I trust that Trump would be the one guy out of all the candidates that would say, no, we are absolutely not letting this happen.
Shutting this down.
Absolutely not.
And when I said before that we're the only country in the world that is allowing illegals to just walk across the border untouched, unfeathered, and then give them whatever food stamps, whatever government assistance, which is illegal for our government to give free food and free money.
They're turning a blind eye on that, but God forbid if some woman decides to turn a blind eye on a garage license.
Right. So in Germany, huge riots and huge fights break out with the refugees attacking citizens.
Really?
Yeah, they were. There's one that two white kids that were just completely annihilated by Syrian refugees.
That's not a very good guest.
Tons and tons of violence of these refugees in Italy and as well as Britain. It is not a peaceful thing at all.
Well, they came to the wrong place. How about that?
Yeah, well, even if they're arrested, they'll get 3 squares a day and a roof over their head.
Yeah, somebody's got to pay for that. I think we need to arm them, give them all a bunch of weapons, bunch of bullets, make them do an about face and say, fight your own battles. We're not taking you in. See ya.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking about the Hispanics in America, they did a poll. I was on Drudge, talked about this poll. 2 out of 3 Hispanics in America are against immigration.
Well, you're talking about legal
American Hispanics.
They were born in Mexico. They come over and they're legal.
Yes,
they say
they did it the right way.
Okay,
right.
That makes perfect sense to me, and I think that verifies my opinion that it is a myth. It is a made-up myth made up by the left that all these Hispanics are all monolithic in their belief that there should be completely open borders.
Right, no, they don't.
Because I believe there are Mexicans that are like, you know what? I want to become an American, and I want to be American. I want to learn the American history and embrace it and embrace capitalism, and I want to do it all legally. I want to be on the up and up. And then they go through the process, and then they become successful at becoming a legal resident, green card holder, and then eventually maybe even a citizen. That person who does it that way cannot possibly support all this flooding of illegal immigration. I just don't see how that's possible.
Well, and it fits the MO of bleeding heart liberals that if somebody isn't working hard enough and it looks like they have a hard time, like if you're playing soccer and he fakes that he's injured.
Oh, okay.
The referee is a bleeding heart liberal, and he's
like,
stop!
Oh my gosh, it's definitely a foul! Oh my gosh!
Look, he's hurt. Look, he's even saying. Look, listen to him. He said he's hurt, so he must be hurt.
He must be hurt. It looked like he dove, and you didn't touch him. I understand you didn't touch him, but maybe when he hit the ground real hard, maybe that hurt.
Yeah, so it hurts.
He's definitely got an owie.
So since it hurts him, and it's not his fault. We need to compensate.
Okay.
Oh, Baltimore. The Freddie Gray. Did you hear what happened this week?
No, I may have. What happened? This is called a tangent.
The
folks.
prosecuting attorney
Okay, what did he do?
agreed to a deal. $6.1 million to the family.
I did hear that story, and they came out with an excuse, too. And the excuse was, we feel like this is the cheapest way to go to protect taxpayer money. That if they had said no and we're going to fight this, it would have cost even more than that.
California had that one time. There was a black man, it was the police chief, and he called himself the big dog. And when they played volleyball, he would scream at him. I mean, just feed the dog, feed the big dog. He would say that all the time. Scream. He's a big prankster, big jokester, always playing jokes on people. Well, they put dog food in his food.
Uh-oh.
So he took one scoop, put it in his mouth, and they all started laughing. And they're like, no, man, dude, stop. Just spit it out, bro. So he spit it out.
Okay.
Didn't even chew it.
Uh-huh.
And they told him what the joke was. And he sued.
Okay.
$20 million.
$20 million? Come on.
So then there was an uprising of the local conservative radio shows, getting the people fired up.
Okay.
So they denied the money.
They should. $20 million.
The lawyers came back, sued again. It's like $15 million. Finally came out. They went ahead and they paid him $10-15 million, and they said that the city was on the hook for that entire debacle, lawyers included, for like $100 million.
$100 million.
It was insane. The numbers were insane. And everybody's talking about, who are these lawyers getting $20-30 million a piece to do this? There was tens of millions of dollars
Forget
involved.
all of that. Forget all of that.
And they didn't even go to trial. They didn't even go to trial.
Oh, you mean it was settled?
Yes, they didn't go to
They
trial.
settled out of court for $150 million.
Well, the guy got like 10-15 million, the big dog. And then the lawyers all split. The lawyer
Do you know what this
firms that were
sounds
involved.
like? This honestly sounds like collusion between a law firm and a judge.
Oh, yeah.
To fleece the city.
Right. They went back and forth with all of this, with the lawyers and with the people and everybody, back and forth for almost a year. And when it was all said and done, they said they spent $100 million on a case. If they'd have settled it for 20, they'd have got off light.
If they settled for... So they fought it, and they end up paying a lot more.
Right.
For feeding some idiot dog food.
One spoonful.
One prank.
He didn't chew or swallow. He didn't swallow. He spit it out.
He doesn't swallow. He spits.
That's exactly what happened.
Apparently,
I would eat.
Apparently, the city and state definitely swallows.
They took it. I would have eaten I don't know. I would have eaten a can of dog food 3 times a day, every day, for however long you want me to eat, for $20 million.
Yeah, maybe even for the rest of my life.
I could probably live on dog food for $20 million.
For the rest of my life.
For $20 million.
I'm only allowed to eat dog food. Though.
Right.
Not even a leaf of lettuce. Nothing but dog food.
You better be putting some fiber in that. There might be fiber in it already. I don't know.
It depends. I might switch up and do different dog foods.
Would you do dry?
I might.
Only wet.
If I got really bored with the wet dog food, I might switch over to dry. You can add water to it.
The one that would the gravy train.
I remember that. Wow, you can add water to it. It was like cereal. It was like Cocoa Puffs. It was like Cocoa Puffs.
It turns the milk chocolatey.
And it was all watery. Like this does not look like the commercial. No. Oh, but for $20 million, whatever.
I'd do it.
Oh, I would. I heard that dog food's really bland compared to. Would you be allowed to add salt to it?
Oh, sure. Of course, condiments, maybe ketchup.
Okay, so how
mustard.
much does a judge get paid? We need to do a little research to find out how much. How does a judge on their salary? Let's say that a judge makes $250,000 a year, which I don't even think it's that much. But let's just say that they're earning that kind of money. How do you, in good conscience, give somebody a settlement of $20 to $100 million for putting a spoonful of dog food in their mouth when you only make $250,000 a year?
Median income is $153,000.
Well, let's just say it's a really high-paid lawyer or a really high-paid judge.
$188,000 is getting to the high end, so like $200,000.
Let's say that you're $200,000. Let's say you're getting obscene amount of money as a lawyer. How do you go home at night and sleep at night knowing on your $200,000 salary that you awarded some schlub and all of his lawyers $100 million worth of taxpayer money, and that they're going to live off of for the rest of life, and you go home and put your head on your $200,000 a year
job,
home,
right.
Your pillow at home? I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Well,
I would be like, dude, I only get $200,000 a year.
You're not getting 1.6
I'm
million.
not giving you $20 million or $100 million or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm not giving you that kind of money.
Well, and not only that, but where does that money come from? It comes from taxpayer dollars. Does that money actually come out of the budget of that department? Does the money is there a slush fund? Do you call the federal government and say, hey, I need $150 million to pay off this dude? Where does the money actually appear from?
I guess they got a
1% tax?
They might have to send in an order to the Federal Reserve to print off an extra.
Just an extra, hey, cut me off an extra duffel bag.
Another duffel bag.
We need extra duffel bag this week.
And just one extra.
One extra out of the 40 you give us, we need one extra.
Yeah, so we can hand it to this guy.
Okay, so say that's how is it that a taxpayer or a citizen can sue the federal government for monetary loss, and the federal government pays that citizen with other taxpayer dollars?
I don't know.
How is that even legit? In my perfect world, in my perfect world, you would not be allowed to sue the federal government or the government for monetary gain, but you could sue individuals for criminal acts.
Well, what about if you were wrongfully imprisoned? There were some high-profile cases where somebody spent 15 or 20 years of his life for a crime he's completely innocent of, proven innocent.
Nothing's perfect.
Well, I would say this. I would say, okay, let's give him a decent, for however long that he was in there, a very good, decent salary for each year, all one lump sum. Be like, hey, my bad, whatever. But somebody messed up to make that happen.
Maybe, so what happens to that person that messed up?
I think that there should be some sort of a process for punishing them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, who knows? But I do think that it's society. When you end up in prison for 20 years, that was society that did that to you, because it's society it's a government run by the people.
All right.
Society put you. I think that every single person in the society that made that happen would all collectively agree, yeah, let's all put 5 in the pot.
When if you think about it, it's only one guy out of all the bad people we're getting off the street. So, it's casualty of war, if you will.
It is.
We'll go ahead and we'll pay for it.
Right, and I think everybody would be willing to throw out a 10.
I would.
You got a 20. If you can afford 100.
But you brought up Kim Davis.
I did, indirectly. I did bring her up.
Yeah, Kim Davis down there in Kentucky. She was released from jail.
Oh, yeah, this week.
And she said, all your garages on Friday, null and void. They ain't got my signature on it.
And legally, that should be accurate. That sounds about right.
So the Washington, D.C. Police chief, who's a female, Denise. It says denies. I don't know what her name is. She's female, police chief. She denies anyone who comes to apply for a concealed carry weapon permit. Everyone is denied.
Uh-oh. So it's
no CCWs and no prison time for her.
Is
no jail time.
Independent, or is she said, well, if she's going to deny marriages, I'm going to deny your Second Amendment right?
They started pulling out a whole bunch of people that are liberals, whatever, that have been. There's a judge. There's a liberal judge that's denying to preside over marriage ceremonies.
Refusing to preside over?
Right. Over
okay.
marriage. Yeah.
All right. So here, you want to hear my take on this?
And she's not in trouble either.
All right, here's my take on this. The marriage license, what does that do for you? Why do you need that license? What does it do for you? Are you not allowed to be a couple? Are you not allowed to be married?
No.
What does it do for you? Does
it's
it's
on
some
the
sort of
books.
tax?
Yeah, it's a tax. It is a tax. You go to the city hall, you pay the fee, the tax, to get a piece of paper, then to take to your church and say, here, I did it. And your church's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but then
and the church gives you their own paperwork.
But then what? Your spouse could be your dependent. There's all kinds of possible tax benefits and other kinds of benefits for being officially married, right?
Right, and for having a they've got a word for it. It's a relationship. It's
a marriage.
No, for gays in the past, they were given.
But I'm just talking about marriage in general. It could be a man and a woman.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's tax breaks, there's odds and ends, and a lot of the gay community is screaming about, well, when my partner dies, I'm not allowed into the hospital bedroom, or I'm not allowed to claim their stuff.
Okay, so all these are benefits that might end up being needing to have a marriage license in order to be recognized by the state in order to provide these benefits, right?
Correct.
In America and everywhere else in the world, the benefit of owning a gun is having it on your possession in case you need it.
Right, right.
So the license, comparing that to marriage is ridiculous.
Right, because marriage will not save your life.
And furthermore...
might shorten your life.
Furthermore, right. Furthermore, if you're caught with this on you and there's some sort of an illegal, unconstitutional law prohibiting you from having it on you, you have your marriage license. It's called the Second Amendment to the Constitution. And if you have a copy of it in your pocket, you could pull that out and say, this is my
CCW license right here.
This is my license to carry.
Right.
Period. I have the right to bear arms.
Okay, but I'm still going to give you a ticket because you're in violation. You need to go to court and fight it.
I will, and I'm sure that the court will...
It's going to spend a lot of money. See, that's how they get you. They threaten you with money.
I would say this to the judge, because, by the way, last week I was in court.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I would say this to the judge. I would say, can you tell me what grounds, what allows you to make, enforce, and penalize me for a law that is in direct opposition to the Constitution, and furthermore in direct opposition to the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. So the Supremacy Clause means you cannot overrule the Constitution with a local law, and the Constitution guarantees me the right to bear arms. So how am I not being let free right now? Can we just throw this out right now?
Right. Let's throw this out, because that's where it needs to go. It needs to be thrown out. So on The View...
Oh, boy.
They have one of the hosts, she came unhinged, talking about Kim Davis.
The Kentucky clerk who was arrested for refusing to issue marriage licenses to gay couples. Now, there's a rally to support...
Okay, that was the Whoopi Goldberg.
She is so self-righteous, and she's so dead wrong.
Her nails. Her voice is like nails on a chalkboard.
Right.
Her today. Candidate Mike Huckabee plans to attend and visit her in jail. So the question is, is her religious freedom being violated, or is she violating people's civil rights? I mean, what's happening here?
This is a woman who's been married more times than everyone at this table combined.
Okay. Before I get to the really bad part, what does that? She's spouting off
She
a
talking
statement
about the woman, the clerk.
Yes.
Kim Davis has been married
more times
several
than anybody here at this table combined.
Okay.
Oh, I got it. She's trying to insinuate, well, she's been married 5 times, 6 times. She can get married as many times she wants, but nobody else can get married.
I guess.
What is she trying to say?
No, I can tell you exactly what she was trying to do. She was trying to say, look, I know you guys are Christians and you think that the institution of marriage is sacred, but I'm going to call you a hypocrite.
Oh, yep,
You're a hypocrite because you obviously are disrespecting the sanctity of marriage by getting a divorce, getting remarried, getting a divorce, getting remarried. How do you find that sacred?
Now, because this is The View, this could be an absolute lie. She may...
I don't know. We don't know if that's true.
All these hags on The View, none of them may be married, and Kim Davis married once.
Possibly. They may have all been married.
She's been married more times than all of us combined, which means, it could mean, that none of them on The View are even married.
That's very possible. And we know why Whoopi's not married.
No,
because they didn't allow that until recently.
She's allowed to get married.
Oh, but not the way she wants to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, here's the rest. Here's the payout.
4 times. She's my top candidate for This Bitch Got a Man, by the way. I'm like, 4 times? Have you seen the lady?
She will say, though, that she
That is so bad. That's so bad.
She called her the B word.
And said that she's so ugly, how could she get 1 man, let alone 4? Or however many marriages.
This is how
that is
liberals
so hateful.
Roll.
If I were to say something about that, like that about women on this show, y'all would probably turn me off.
Probably.
Be very upset. But they're just saying it like, ha, look, we can make fun of you. Ad hominem,
Yeah, she's ugly and she's a bee. Yeah.
Let's throw
How could she get 4?
Na.
She's got 4. How could she get 4?
Sounds like they're jealous.
Yeah, because there's actually 4 at the table.
Oh, let's hear their cackling some more.
Oh, no, I'm done. I shut it down.
Oh, did you? I thought there was more to it.
That was it.
So you literally were exposing their ad hominem attacks.
Yes, and the dropping the bee bomb and making fun of the way she looks.
So immature. They're worse than if you were on a playground of an inner city middle school and you were able to eavesdrop on like the worst girls in the school. Right. That's like what it sounds like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These don't watch The View. There's
you know what? I'm very tolerant.
It'll turn your mind to mush.
Right. Well, when liberals, progressives, whatever, start spouting off their opinion, I'm very tolerant of it because I
know I can't.
But
your dad starts bleeding out his ears.
Oh, he loses it. He loses his mind.
Just even like a couple of words coming out of them, he's shutting it down.
Turn this off! Yeah. Me, I'm like, oh, let me hear. You know what it is? It's like going into an ammo factory. The more they talk, the more ammo they're making for me. Like literally.
Right.
I'm just replenishing.
Right.
I'm in there to replenish. Because everything... Let's put it to you this way. If anything they said had merit, they would steer me to their side.
Right.
But nothing they say has merit whatsoever. So all I have to do, in fact, it helps me to refresh on their lunacy. I need to refresh on because then it reminds me of how to effectively oppose them.
Right.
Because if I don't, sometimes I'll forget where they're coming from.
Well, and like that sound clip, I'm gritting my teeth.
I would just say to them,
it was like
what's with all this immature, hateful name calling? What are you guys doing? Do you have any substance? I mean, obviously you guys disagree with her right to the freedom of religion with regards to the freedom of 2 men to get married or 2 women to get married.
Right.
You think that they have a right to do that. And that somebody whose religion would be violated, carrying through your right to get married, is wrong or whatever. So let's hear it. Let me hear your argument for that or against that. And I didn't hear it. It was just name calling, and it was nasty.
Oh, it was
mean name calling, very nasty. It was like It's like she wanted her to make sure that she heard this to possibly make her cry.
Right.
That was her whole point. Please let this get back to her. Somebody send her the sound clip of this because I want to make you cry. Who wants to listen to that crap?
I want to know that she's crying.
Let me be on record right now. Say if you tune into that to hear that to be entertained, you are an evil person.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I just want to be on the record saying that.
Good.
Next up on.
Hey, real quick, I forgot about this, but that whole thing over in Syria, the Obama administration was granted by Congress $500 million.
Okay.
To train a force of like 5,000 or 6,000.
Okay.
They've spent $41 million. They've trained 54 Syrians, and now they're all gone missing.
Oh, for crap's sake! What?
ISIS took
this
them all.
will not happen under Trump.
ISIS took them all.
Did you hear? Did I tell you about how the word coming from inside the Trump camp is that he's running a ridiculously efficient campaign?
Really?
Ridiculous.
Well, did you see the new numbers out on him? He's over 30%.
Yeah,
and he's getting. The GOP establishment is astounded. They're dumbfounded. Their jaws are on the ground. How is he able to get the black vote? I'm
not sure about the black vote. I can't really explain it, but the low information vote. Did I tell you? I told you earlier, the folks need to hear this. If you're a low information voter out there, that you already know this. Trump was on Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show.
I got a clip.
Oh, you got a clip? Okay, so I heard about, to be honest with you, here's the thing about Channel 5 for me. Well, locally, right. Channel 5, which is NBC, which is what The Tonight Show comes on. I generally don't watch it because my reception on that one channel is a little spotty. And I was just hoping that it was good that night because I heard from Donald Trump's Twitter feed that he's going to be on Jimmy Fallon and he's fired up about it.
Right.
And he was in Rolling Stone the other day, and it turned into a hit piece, right?
I've also got stuff on that.
Okay, so Rush doesn't understand why Trump keeps doing all this low information stuff because this was before the Jimmy Fallon show, by the way. So before the Jimmy Fallon show, the Rolling Stone thing comes out, and Rush is like, I don't know, I have no idea why he's doing this low information stuff.
In the Rolling Stone piece, Trump said...
About Carly Fiorina.
Fiorina, he said, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that? The face of our next president? I mean, she's a woman, and I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to.
That was written.
I know.
The author's a moron. I read that too.
S''POSEDTA. I'm not supposed to.
Just spell it out.
Say bad things, but really, folks, come on. Are we serious? Oh, man.
So I do admit that sounded kind of bad. And I actually was not too happy to hear that he let his guard down like that. Don't let your guard down like that.
Bobby Jindal came out and made a comment about that.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm not really sure whether or not that affected him or not, but that's not going to be in the news anymore because he went on Jimmy Fallon, another opportunity to be hit pieced on. Jimmy Fallon loves Trump, and I didn't know this.
Not only that, but they're saying now that the Jimmy Fallon show...
Oh, their numbers.
Yeah, their numbers were... Let's see, here's... Jimmy Fallon, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump delivered Jimmy Fallon his biggest Friday ratings in 18 months. Friday's broadcast was Fallon's best for an end of week since February 2014. Shortly after his debut of the show's host, Colbert will have his chance to sit with Trump September 22nd.
Ooh, that's going to be rough because Colbert... His name is actually pronounced Colbert or Colbert.
Yeah.
It's a joke that he calls it Colbert. It's like a let's make a French pronunciation and just as a joke.
Oh, the T is silent.
And report is pronounced report, but he said, well, let's just go ahead and do Colbert Report. was the name of his old show.
Jeez.
The whole
Colbert
thing was a
Report.
big
Okay.
joke. So now, to this day, he's still called Colbert, even though his family's like, yeah, we're the Colberts. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, wow, that's going to be rough.
And he is a lib.
So I heard.
Colbert.
So I was actually intrigued, and I was looking forward to watching the Jimmy Fallon show for the first. And by the way, I've been watching Jimmy Fallon since he took over for Big Chin, Jay Leno.
Jay Leno.
And I'm like really impressed. It's actually a very good show, genuinely entertaining.
Okay, well, good,
Genuinely.
good. And then the Don raised those up over
Yeah.
a year.
Well, right.
It was his biggest. It's his biggest rating show in a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Right. So I was looking forward to it because number one, even if Trump wasn't on the show, I knew I was going to be entertained anyway. But when I found out he was on the show, I thought, well, this is going to be a double whammy. I'm going to be entertained, and let's see what happens, because who knows?
Train wreck.
It could be a train wreck. Jimmy Fallon, turns out, was giddy as a schoolboy. It was like he was starstruck. He was starstruck.
He was definitely
He's like, oh my gosh, I got you. I got Donald Trump right in front of me. Oh my gosh. He was. So he goes out there dressed up as Donald Trump, and
what what I love about that whole thing, so Jimmy is dressed up like Trump, talking to a mirror
with the real Trump.
The real Trump. The mirror. There's no mirror. It's an invisible mirror.
It's a
there's
window.
nothing. It's a window.
It's got a window.
Right, but it's
or a hole.
But they're calling it a mirror because he's talking to Trump on the other side.
Right, and he's dressed as Trump, so it looks like he's looking in a mirror.
Right.
So okay,
it is kind of funny, but the thing that I take away from all this, and I think the low information voters like this too, Trump is able to just laugh at himself.
Yeah, he did a
and
good job.
All his little subtle nuance, even his own hair. Bobby Jindal said, "How can Trump make fun of anybody? It looks like he's got a squirrel on his head."
Oh, Jindal's on the map now.
Right. So Trump took to Twitter and said, Bobby Jindal did not make the debate stage, and therefore I have never met him. I only respond to people that register more than 1% in the polls.
Which, by the way, he just responded to it, and then he later on responded again, to which several of his supporters said, hey, Trump, I thought you don't respond to people. Yeah, I'm serious. I've been following Trump, by the way. So
he needs to let that go. So do you want to hear? I've got a minute of that scene of Fallon and Trump. I've got the whole thing, but I've got a minute clip.
Well, before you play it, I remember thinking to myself, what's Fallon going to do? Is Trump going to be funny? Is he going to come off awkward? Whatever. Turns out, Trump, yeah, he was funny. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. But one thing I noticed was that Fallon was especially funny. And afterwards, all of the people who watched it pretty much just gave Trump the credit.
They did. Everybody gave Trump. They said Trump was the best.
He was so awesome. He's so funny. He did a great job, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here thinking, he did. That's true. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that
Jimmy Fallon was really good.
He had a lot of help by Fallon. Right. And Fallon did not have any interest in playing any gotcha with him.
Which is good.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. I mean, it's you are a talk show.
He's an entertainer. And he did it.
Your job is not to.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what it sounded like.
Okay. 3A.
Mr. Producer.
3A.
I'm about to go out for my interview with Jimmy Fallon.
Now, that is Fallon.
I'll call you back after I comb my hair. Talk to you in 3 hours.
Oh! Now he looks in the mirror. Now he's looking at Trump.
I look fantastic.
No, we look fantastic, and I mean really fantastic.
All right, me, we've got a big interview with Jimmy Fallon coming up. But let's be honest, Fallon's a lightweight. No way he deserves to interview me. The only one qualified to interview me is me.
I love that.
I mean, even Trump believes it. Right. I mean, the crowd's in it, too.
Yes, they love it.
Me interviewing me, that's what I call a great idea.
Of course it's a great idea. We thought of it.
All right, so that's a minute and 10
That
seconds.
extra
clip.
laugh, that extra laugh at the end there, that was Trump looking right at the audience.
Okay.
All he did was look at him, and it caused a big laugh. So yeah, and then later on, after the commercial break, they did a real interview.
Sat down.
Yeah, sat down, and Jimmy was hilarious on that too, and it was, and everybody gave Trump the credit. Trump just kind of, there was never, you could tell that there was, in fact, like they had a good chemistry together, and there was no animosity whatsoever. Like I do not anticipate it being that happy-go-lucky with Colbert.
No,
I think that he's going to be trying. He's going to want to try to make a name for himself by getting him in a gotcha, kind of like Couric did with Palin. With the "What do you read?" and Palin was like, "I read. What's that? I don't know how to read."
What?
That was the gotcha question. You remember that?
Yeah, but she didn't have a book off the back.
Nope. That was the big that Katie Couric completely ended Sarah Palin single-handedly.
Because she can't read.
All the way up until that point, Sarah Palin was the chosen child.
Right.
From that point on, it was a downward slide that she never recovered from. Yeah, Katie Couric came out and said, "So, what is it that you read, like on a daily basis or in you regular?" She's like, I don't know. I just watch cartoons on Saturday morning." Her answer was terrible. She had no answer, and even there was even a follow up where Katie was like, "Wait a minute,
hold on.
You can't come up with anything that you read? Do we have the soundbite, Mr. Producer?"
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Skip ad.
Skip ad. What are you on?
September 30, 20.
And when it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the
I've
world?
read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have been in front of me over all these years. I have a vast variety of sources where we get our news to. Alaska isn't a foreign country where it's kind of suggested. It seems like, how could you keep in touch with what the rest of Washington, D.C. may be thinking and doing when you live up there in Alaska? Believe me, Alaska is like a microcosm of America.
So that may sound benign. That sounded a lot more benign than the way I described it. But the media was like,
she can't read. She can't read.
We got her! And it became a firestorm. All three of the major low information outlets, mainstream medias, all the newspapers, anybody who could get an audience anywhere was like, just using those sound bites and saying, "Oh my gosh, look how ignorant she is. She doesn't even read. Does she even know how to read?" She couldn't name a single magazine or a newspaper, which I find it interesting because all these years later, it's the first time I've heard that in years.
I just said Forbes. I read. I have a subscription to
Well,
Forbes.
I would have objected to the premise. How do you get your worldview from a newspaper?
Oh,
the newspapers
the
are
question, and it's
well. You're basically saying, look, we need you to be a communist, and the only way you could be a communist, which is the worldview,
is if you read the New York Times, because that's where all the information starts.
It has to be a newspaper, which, I mean, I guess she could have threw out a capitalist, pro-America, pro-patriotic.
She should have said, "I read Imprimis."
I was Imprimis.
I subscribe to Imprimis.
Okay. She could have said that.
That's the free thing that Hillsdale College sends out to you if you subscribe to it.
Yeah.
They have somebody who gives a talk once a month, and then they translate it into Word as a pamphlet, and they send it out to Imprimis.
I would have said worldview? Worldview? Okay. First, I've read the Constitution. And second, if you read books like Mark Levin's Ameritopia, you will see where the founders got their worldview and how it can shape your own worldview.
And how you and the media are shaping the worldview of our children in a very negative way.
And that you're actually enabling the communist government to create the education camps to get everybody to be raised in order to support this from then on. I mean, it's true.
Okay, so
it's true.
So while we're on Trump, check this out. This is Breitbart did a op-ed piece.
Do you think Trump knows this? What do you read to get your worldview?
Whoa.
I'm telling you, I'm a little bit worried about Trump. I'm a little bit worried about him.
I read stuff.
Well, no, I don't think that he doesn't read stuff.
No. I mean, he would because I've heard some of his answers to some of these questions, and he does do the walk away and start to answer a question he wished was asked.
Does he?
He does. He does a walk away.
What? I never heard it called the walk away though, but that's a good way to call it. He does the walk away, oh, why didn't I answer it this way?
Yes.
Oh, if I wish I could get in a time machine and get that moment back.
But he's not as slick as Slick Willie.
He's the type of person that could get away with saying, you know what? I don't read nothing. You know why I don't read nothing? Because they're just a bunch of liars anyway.
Yeah, y'all liars.
And then everybody would be like, yeah!
You stick it to him one more time.
I could see him getting away with that.
So Breitbart did an op-ed piece on a new book out about Trump.
Oh, okay.
The name of the book is Never Enough, Donald Trump and the Pursuit of Success. So by Michael D'Antonio. Is a 400-page rehash of anti-Trump gossip and accusations of the last 30-something years, interspaced with a historical and sociological narrative skewed so far to the left that it would have made Howard Zinn blush.
Now, hold on. We've talked about this on the show before. If I had this radio show 17 years ago, you would have said the same thing about me.
Probably. So, but it's all skewed, and so I just want to give a little wiki shout out on Howard Zinn for those of you listening. Howard Zinn, self-described anarchist, something of a socialist, maybe a Democrat socialist. He says he wrote extensively about civil rights and anti-war movements.
How do you go from anarchist to socialist?
And labor history of the United States, his memoir, You Can't Be Natural on a Moving Train, was also the title of an 2004 documentary about Zinn's life and work. He was a professor and wrote books to change the minds of mushy children's brains.
So what is he? How do you go from anarchist to socialist? It's like, hey, I don't like the oligarchy in charge. I don't like these people that think that they're kings or dictators. So we should just start all over with nothing but no government. And
he says start with anarchy.
And then we're going to start with some localized socialism.
Localized anesthesia.
That's what that is.
That's exactly what it
is. And then we're going to bring in Dr. Kevorkian, and we're going to end this country.
Speaking about doctors, did you hear what California did this week?
If it's California and involves doctors, it can't be good.
They just passed a law allowing doctors to prescribe medicine that is intended to end your life.
Oh, so Dr. Kevorkian.
To kill you. Yes.
Okay.
You take this pill.
You have a right to kill yourself.
Liberals
do believe that.
It's called right to die.
Yeah, right to die. They believe that. Liberals believe you have a right to die, which this is where belief in God really. This is the one place. I mean, abortion is one place too, but I don't need God to convince somebody that abortion is wrong. All I need is biology.
Right.
I can give you scientific reasons and logical reasons why abortion should be. When it comes to right to life or right to what did you call it?
Right to death.
Oh,
right to die.
Right to die.
Right to die.
When it comes to right to die, you got to get down to the theology of you being a part of God's creation, and you're damaging it.
But if you're not a Christian, you don't believe in God.
Yeah, where do you go with that?
Okay, here's what I see where you go with that. And I've known people that have committed suicide. I know people where I know good friends, their daughter at 18 committed suicide.
I have a cousin that killed himself at 18.
Okay. So I'm not here to offend anybody, but I'm here to spout my opinion. And suicide is a very extremely selfish act.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
It's a very selfish act. Okay, you may be under medication, you may be in a delusional state, and I'm sure everybody somewhere, sometime, at one point in time, it might have crossed their mind, but never, no, okay, never mind, just blow that out. Some people have a chemical imbalance and just really want the pain to go away. Like Robin Williams. I mean, it's a classic case. He had a lot of extreme amount of mental pain and anguish and was being medicated heavily. And some of the medications can cause...
They all say that.
...bouts of suicide.
They
say it on TV, on the commercials.
Almost every drug that's come out is like, if you're having thoughts of suicide, seek help.
Call somebody right
away. They'll say may cause serious feelings of wanting to kill yourself. Whatever.
So, if that be the case, okay, whatever. I'm not here to talk about that, but just in general, the two girls that I knew, one in high school and one maybe about 5 years ago, both of them were really upset and had a really bad home life, went into alcohol, and that was just enough for them. The one was around the Kurt Cobain era. When he killed himself.
See,
that dude was really selfish on that end too.
When I was a kid, back in the I'll tell you.
70s?
No, the 80s. When I was a kid in the 80s, I think it would be unwritten public policy amongst journalists and pretty much society in general that there's two things that you sweep under the rug and you just act like didn't happen. And it was helpful to society to do this. One is premarital pregnancy, particularly if you're still in school.
Right.
Like my mom, she got pregnant at 16 because she had my big brother when she was 17, so she would have been 16. They quietly scooted her out of school, and she did night school to get her diploma, which is what you did.
Right.
That's what pregnant girls from high school did. You get quietly skirted out, and they were like, oh, what happened to what's her name?
Right.
I don't know.
Everybody in the family knows about this, but we've been wide open. I was adopted at 3 days old, and the woman who gave birth to me, she got pregnant at the end, real close to her 15th birthday. So she was 14, going on 15, and gave birth to me at 15.
Okay.
And then gave me up for adoption. Was the best thing that ever happened. But the whole thing was she was out of school completely.
Yeah.
For that entire school year, she was out of school, went back, finished it, and actually went into the military, went into the Air Force, did 4 years in the Air Force.
So these days...
Success story of sorts.
And I will blame this, or I'll point to this as being a major reason why we're having a decay of society, is that these days it's a cause for celebration. Like, oh, look how brave this girl is. She's going to have her kid, and we should celebrate that. And there was a song even made about it a couple of years ago. American Idol woman, she made a song about one of the girls on American Idol had a child. Obviously, the child was already born by the time she was on American Idol, but she was in high school when she had the child. And it was a big cause for celebration as far as she's concerned. And the media lapped it up. They're like, yeah, you should celebrate this. Obviously, it's better than abortion, that's for sure. But no, you need to do what they did in the past, which was not make a spectacle of it, deal with it the best you can. But the main thing is you don't want to influence the rest of the school population by celebrating it.
Right.
You're going to end up having other people say, oh my gosh, girls, there are girls out there, and my daughter's one of them. They love attention. And if you give all kinds of attention to the girl because she got pregnant, it's going to encourage other people to have pregnancies. And the other thing, the second thing that's different from the 80s than it is today is suicides. It was hugely frowned upon back in the day. If you heard somebody committed suicide, there was nothing but negative things to say about that.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but negative. There was nothing positive. Now we have these big Robin Williams. He had all these videos made and tributes, all these tributes. Right. Don't tribute somebody who committed suicide. You just don't do that.
Go back through our timeline on Smith Radio.
It started with Kurt Cobain. When he committed suicide, all of a sudden all the tributes came out.
Right. I did a 30-minute, I think it was 45-minute little audio right after Robin Williams died. It's posted up on smithradio.com. You can listen to it. It's not a tribute to him, but it's sad because, like I said, it's a selfish act.
Yeah.
And he did something that took away, he's taking away from all of us the things that we knew about him that were so nice.
Isn't it selfish of us to demand that of him? Well, didn't he have a child?
Yes, he had a family and a wife.
That's so selfish.
He had a wife and kids.
You know what that is? That is a lack of responsibility. You have a responsibility for your family.
I love to fly all the time. Airplanes. I love to fly. And recently, I've been really real anxious, real like I don't want to do it.
Side effects include.
They never gave me the warning when I got married. Side effects may include fear of flight.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, I've got a decent life insurance policy on me now, but I think about, if I died.
And you got 3 real young ones.
The boy, the girls, the wife would be fine, but oh my goodness, she'd have to.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, she does enough as it is now, but
it'd be crazy.
It would be insane.
There'd have to be some other family intervention to help to make this happen. You know what I'm saying?
Would have to be.
Well, you would have to hope that you had a big life insurance policy and all that. But you commit suicide.
Say I killed myself.
Okay. Now,
how would the family and my wife and my kids look at me?
Well, it should be terrible.
It should be absolutely horrible.
It should be terrible.
However,
it'd be anger. There should have to be anger.
Nowadays, we got to do a tribute for him.
We do tribute. Oh, it's so sad. Okay, and here's another thing. That the attitude of the past, which was that we don't celebrate that.
Food stamps. Back in the day, that was a shame. You didn't walk around with funny money.
Well,
but it's the same thing though. They're now celebrating it. Everybody gets a credit card.
Right. Right. Well, let's take it to the next step.
We don't want them to feel bad having the funny money.
Well,
let's give them a credit card.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to tangent that way, but no. What I was going to say is, where do we go in the future for this? Back in the past, it was universally a source of shame if somebody were to commit suicide. Right. Now we're like, oh, we got to do tribute. Oh, what led this to him doing this, and now we have the right to life. The next thing is insurance companies are going to be required to pay.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
They're going to be like, why aren't they paying? That's what they're going to say. Wait a minute. Whoa. This guy had 3 little kids.
How do you not pay him?
Look at his family now.
He took out an insurance policy, just like my car insurance. I got car insurance. They pay.
What if you wrecked it on purpose?
They still pay.
Then this guy wrecked his life on purpose. You got to pay. That's what's going to happen next.
Ouch.
That's the evolution of this degradation of society.
If you had full coverage insurance on your car and you took your car and ran it into a bridge abutment.
Right.
And you called the insurance company and said, hey, I survived it. I don't know what happened.
I just want to start off by saying I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't want to get you guys alarmed. I'm okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're physically...
Is this Jake from State Farm? Oh, man.
Jake? Oh, she sounds horrible.
She sounds hideous.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's it.
Oh.
It's because he's a she. Oh, whatever. Is this Jake from State Farm? So, yeah. Yeah, so they would pay for my car. My premiums might go up, though.
Well, I guess the question that remains then is...
insurance companies don't pay on suicide, though.
That's going to change because that is the trajectory of the evolution of society, the devolving of society. That's pretty much what we're talking about here, and it will go down, and not your premiums either. But that'll cause premiums to go up, just like Obamacare's going through the roof. Obamacare will probably pay for suicides.
The question on Google: does life insurance pay for accidental overdose?
Ooh, now we're.
Does life insurance pay for?
Is that the segue into
drug overdose?
Oh boy.
Wow, They probably
he accidentally took 45 sleeping pills.
Well, he read the bottle without his glasses on, and he thought he saw like an 18, but it was really just 1 and no other. Yeah.
The next letter was a B.
Right, and
he thought it said
so
18.
it was so small. The letter. It's the medical company. They're printing it too small.
Oh, they should be sued. Not only did they get all the life insurance, they're going to sue the company that made that bottle for $100 million.
So here's the answer. There is no simple yes or no answer to this question.
Of course there's not.
Whether the drug was prescribed, medication, how it was administered, and the details of the overdose are all considerations. That's what they would do. They would do a full investigation, consideration, and then make a determination. And if you don't like the life insurance policies, the company, their determination, then you lawyer up. You call Johnny Cochran's buddy. And
dig Johnny Cochran up.
Dig him up, and then use the Chewbacca defense, and you'll probably win.
That was a really good defense, by the way.
It's the best in the world.
It don't make no sense.
It don't make sense. You must have quit.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What's your story with Glenn Beck? I listened to him this week.
I'm done with him.
So Glenn Beck had to apologize late in the week. Did you hear that episode?
He came out. Well, apparently he was at the...
I listened to him this week.
Okay, he was at the showdown for the Iran nuke deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
right. It was a protest, right?
Right, it was a protest. And Sarah Palin spoke, Trump spoke, you heard Cruz speak. I think Huckabee said he was going to speak or something. And Glenn was there too. And Glenn, this whole crybaby, he's like,
he hates Trump. He hates Trump so much. I tweeted this week that his hatred towards Trump,
dude, it's ruining him.
It's
bad.
It's ruining Glenn Beck. It may be the end of Glenn Beck, but it's not that I'm some sort of a Trump fanboy.
No.
And everybody that says anything bad about Trump, I'm going to be really mean to you and say bad things and hope that you are hurting professionally or whatever. It's not that. It's that his hatred towards Trump is now blinding him of what Trump's all about. He's starting to say things and believe things about Trump that just aren't true, and it has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. It's all about his determination to get everybody to see that Trump's not the right person.
Well, and then he sees that Sarah Palin is down with Trump, and she's tweeting out a lot. Trump made a comment, said I should make her give her a secretary position or something like that.
I would like to see
and
that.
she said, I nominate myself for Secretary of EPA, FDA, some kind of executive position. And she said, because my first day of work, I would eliminate the entire cabinet.
That would be sweet.
I would remove the entire, like Secretary of...
so Trump would say...
I think it was EPA.
Okay.
She was going to remove the entire EPA, just cancel it all.
Give her
out.
the secretary position and say, okay, here's how it works. You get a bonus. Here's your bonus. It doesn't get released until this is gone.
Right.
I want you to clean up.
And that bonus is millions.
And I'm
talking about the biggest duffel bag you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So he came out and
called her a clown or something. But I didn't hear her. I didn't hear him. I must have missed the episode or maybe the moment where he called her a clown.
He said
he called several other people clowns, and I was like, dude, you're going down the wrong road here.
He said she's becoming a clown.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he called Trump and several others clowns, and he didn't apologize for that. At the end of the week, you didn't know this probably if you weren't listening. I think it might have been Friday. It was either Friday or Thursday. He said, I just want to apologize to everybody. I should not have called her a clown. He actually apologized like 3 different times during the course of the show.
I read the transcript.
Okay.
Yeah.
That he apologized about calling her a clown. She did not deserve that. She's not a clown. But I don't take back anything else I said about her.
Then he started talking about how they've been disconnected ever since that senator was shot and paralyzed, but it had nothing to do with that shooting. But that's about the time frame. We've just lost touch. I've tried to reach out, and she made a comment through her people we don't know who to trust right now.
You know why
that
Glenn's
took
going down?
that took Glenn Beck personally. He took that personally at a time when she had to shield herself from everything. Sorry, Glenn Beck, you are sought at or looked at by the media as a guy with a third eye. And if she's running for vice president of the United States and you're the third eye, dude, she's got to distance herself, and you've got to understand that. It's not like she'd be calling George Norrie in the middle of the night.
Well, the thing
I'm a George Norrie fan, too.
This is my thing about...
You can't do that.
Right. The thing about Glenn Beck is he's provided a great service to America. He's the first one to legitimize real conspiracies. When he first got hired on to Fox News, he busted out that giant blackboard every day, and he would finish a show by crying his eyes out
because he was taught by Oprah that you every time Oprah cried, she got a raise.
And his conspiracy theories were all legitimate. He was the first one to come out and say this is all communist conspiracies, and we were all like, really? Like, it seemed legit.
Right.
And then he would have that red phone, and he would say, if I'm not accurate about this is a direct line to the Oval Office. Call me and tell me how I'm wrong. And he would do that every episode. Call me. He would hold up that big old school rotary phone. It was red.
But how are we supposed to believe that's a direct line to the White House?
He said he had his people hook up, and it had a special phone number, and he only sent it to Obama. And he said, call me. You have my number. You're the only one that has my number. If I'm wrong about any of this, call me. I'm waiting. And he would dangle the phone in front of the camera. And so, but here's the thing. All of those conspiracy theories were correct. They were absolutely 100% true. And it took Glenn Beck, with the help of Fox News, who had a very, very, very strong following at the time, to legitimize all those conspiracy theories. And I think that was a very useful service to the country because those things needed to be exposed. And I think he did a good job on that. I think he got thrown under the bus by Fox News by getting let go, quote, air quotes, let go. It was that, you want to talk about conspiracy theory, it was clearly a deal done between MSNBC and Fox News. They were worried about the rhetoric getting too strong. This was before things got really bad, thanks to Obama. But they thought that the rhetoric between him and Keith Olbermann, it was Keith Olbermann was the ridiculously progressive, hardcore blowhard on MSNBC. He always had the most evil person of the day, and it was always either Bill O'Reilly or Rush Limbaugh. Every day. And it was the rhetoric on his side was terrible. The rhetoric on Glenn Beck was getting really, really strong. So what they did is they did a backdoor agreement. Hey, look,
switcheroo.
You fire your guy, and we'll agree to fire our guy. And they fired Keith Olbermann, and about 4 months later, mysteriously, Glenn Beck was let go.
So this is a compilation.
Oh, there's a compilation.
After 9/11 on 9/12, I told you for weeks, you're not alone. I am turning into a frickin' televangelist where real heroes have gathered.
Crying again. This is a cry compilation?
2 years ago, I made her father a promise that I would not let this story die.
Dry?
However,
it's not drying.
It's not dry.
I had to break that promise because I am now working at a network that will follow through on a story. I am not a journalist. I'm just a guy who cares. I'm sorry.
Dude!
I'm just a guy who cares an awful lot about my country. And I think you do too. But sometimes, for political reasons or whatever reasons, people just won't follow a story. With cerebral palsy, and they said that when she was born that she would never walk or talk or feed herself. She went to college. They were wrong. This poster bothers me so much because the hand of the person shown in this poster says in German, basically, it's going to cost 60,000 marks to keep this man alive.
Oh, boy.
And it is a real blessing for me to be able to tell you, sir, that the cavalry has arrived. Fox is here. And we'll do everything we can. And we'll have you back, sir. And
it doesn't even seem real.
God bless.
No, dude.
When you play comedy,
this is why I can't listen to him anymore. They said there's a conspiracy theory that says he uses Vicks or Vapor Rub to cry on cue. To cry on cue. Vicks.
So he starts by rubbing the eye.
Yes,
and it has Vicks on his finger.
It's like the baseball players that
what is spitball?
The tarp, tar,
pine tar.
Pine tar.
They could use pine tar or a little tiny piece of sandpaper.
Ooh, yeah.
Or if they spit on their hands, or have Vaseline under their the brim of their hat,
right?
So they could manipulate the ball based on what they put on it,
right?
So that's what he's doing.
With the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Breaking news.
Breaking
Wow. That is Smith Radio for you.
So Glenn Beck said today, this week, he said, he was talking about, he was on CNN. He said, I just saw my appearance on CNN. I recorded it earlier today. They edited the heart of it out. I wish they would have left the real conversation. The meaningful conversation that Don and I had. I'm done with this.
What?
If I can't fix my own radio show, get my own show to begin to take action of healing, help, and decency, I need to go away myself. I don't know how much more I can do and fail.
When did he say that? When did he say that?
Friday morning at 9:36 a.m. and 45 seconds. Dude, he's losing it, man.
Well, did you hear about one of his rallies that he was going to do? He had to scrounge he wasn't going to be able to do it. Down to the last week, he was going to have to cancel it because he didn't have enough money. And he did like this emergency fundraiser and barely squeaked it out.
What?
Yes. It may have been the 9/12 thing or something.
They had a protest of 20,000 people that marched. That might have been it.
Well, here's the thing about
20,000 people showing
Here's
up.
the thing about Glenn Beck. He really, really did. I mean, he's like the godfather of the Tea Party.
Right.
And here's what happened. And nobody ever talks about this, and he doesn't recognize it. If he recognized it, he wouldn't have let it happen.
We here on Smith Radio talk about this and all the details.
All the time. Yeah. So
772-49-SMITH.
With a Y.
Yes.
Not WITHAY. Not that.
There's no X in there.
No, it's SMYTH. Anyway. So, no, this is what happened with Glenn Beck that just started his downward demise. When he had the first 9/12 thing with all the Tea Party and they filled the entire mall in Washington, D.C. full of people, it was like 500,000 people. Because of Glenn Beck, there was this gigantic following of the Tea Party. There was this huge Tea Party movement. And when the liberals punched the Tea Party movement right square in the nose with that incident where they said that they were calling that elected official the N-word, who happened to be black, and that they spit on him, and there was no proof of it. It was a total lie. Everybody freaked out. All the Tea Party people are a legitimate grassroots organization full of people that are just plucked right out of their offices or wherever they work. And as soon as they started to believe, oh my gosh, I'm involved in an organization where I might get caught on TV somewhere where liberals are accusing them of using the N-word and spitting on a black elected official, I could lose my job. Hell, I could lose my job right now just by being associated with this organization. The rug got pulled out from under him, and the thing I blame Glenn Beck for is he went along with that. He went along with the narrative that these people are all weird, these people are all racists, they're all bigots, and that there's something wrong with the people that make up the Tea Party movement. He should have never fell for that. He should have rallied the troops by saying, this is what they're going to do. This is how to combat it. Don't fall for it. Stay strong. And instead, he said, I don't want to be called the Tea Party anymore. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. We need a new name. He came out one time screaming, we need a new name.
I remember that. I was listening to him back then.
The Tea Party name has become so toxic, and it's because the liberals did it. They have the propaganda machine to
and
do
that the
it.
Tea Party allowed them to do that.
Well, the Tea Party itself was just these
grassroots people, right?
But Glenn
the
Beck
leader
needed
of
to
that
come
party,
out. Yeah.
for the most part, Glenn Beck has a very loud and voice and a very
people
large
were going to listen
presence.
to him. They were going to listen
Of
to him.
course.
If he had said, listen, this is their MO. They're going to come out and lie about you. They're going to lie about the organization. They're going to try to demonize you. They're going to try to make fun of you. They're going to make it seem uncool and maybe even bigoted and racist in order to be a part of this organization. You need to stand strong. You need to not fall for it. You need to just stay strong. Hold the line. Hold the line.
Hold the line, boys.
And he didn't.
No.
Instead, he reacted to it the exact same way everybody else reacted to it. And that was the beginning of the end of Glenn Beck. He had the entire he was the Donald Trump of the day.
Right.
What you see Donald Trump right now being was what Glenn Beck was in, 2012, I guess?
Right.
2010?
Yeah, it was right. Well, it was... No,
2010.
It was before the election of 2010 that overturned the
And
election
then
of
it got
2010.
stronger.
Right.
Yeah. Right around 2010.
Because they realized how much power they had in 2010 by taking the
09,
House.
010. Yep.
Right.
Mhm. That's when Glenn Beck was so famous. He was on the cover of Time magazine as the most influential person in America. He just bragged about that this past week. I mean, he wasn't bragging. It was called a humble brag. Have you heard of that? Have you ever heard of a humble brag? You're going to have to Google it.
Okay.
So Google humble brag, and you'll see what it is when people tweet or Facebook comment in a way that makes they'll say they're being humble, but what they're saying is actually a brag.
Oh, okay.
So he humble bragged that he was on the cover of Time magazine and that it can change so quickly.
09. Person of the year,
okay.
09. And Glenn Beck weeps a lot and laughs really loud and talks too much about how the country is going in the wrong direction.
Right, and look where he is now. I mean, he talk about a fall from grace. He almost couldn't come up with enough money to have his little rally.
I don't know how true that is.
He said it on the air.
Oh, they say that just to raise money.
Dude, he was already done with it. He said, dude, I got to tell you something that I didn't want to say at the time because I didn't want to scare anybody, but we almost had to cancel this whole thing.
Oh, after the fact.
After!
Oh.
It was after it was over. Oh. He said they ended up having to take money, or they thought they were going to have to take money.
Shift
it from being able to donate it to this one organization to being able to have the rally at all. And they made like $30,000.
Okay, well, all right, good.
I'll tell you
what.
what.
That's what it was. Hold on. 30,000 people marched in Birmingham, Alabama on August 29th.
Oh, the Alabama thing.
29th, 2015, for hashtag All Lives Matter. Did you hear about that? 30,000 marched.
Okay.
Did you hear about that?
He's only from him.
Yeah.
Only from him.
I came across this. There was zero media coverage. 30,000 people marching?
Birmingham said that this was their largest march since the Civil Rights era.
Not a single news media coverage anywhere.
Right.
Nothing.
They're definitely trying to get rid of Glenn Beck, but he's doing a lot of it himself.
Right.
It's a combination of his own following being like, Glenn, come on, dude. And the media being like, dude, do not cover anything Glenn Beck does. So it all started with the deal to get rid of Olbermann.
And went downhill fast.
Yeah. And hey, Olbermann's worse off. He got fired from ESPN.
Yeah. Dude's completely awful.
So Glenn Beck, he apologized this week, and he does not understand the country anymore. He lost understanding when he let the Tea Party crash and burn and let them get thrown under the bus. And now with he just doesn't understand why anybody is supporting Trump. He just doesn't get it.
So it's Colbert Late Show debuts features Trump.
That's next week, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
On the screen with Trump, it's a split screen. It shows Trump's picture, and underneath Trump's picture...
Oh, no, they didn't.
It shows KKK burning a cross.
I wouldn't even show up for that. I would be like, you know what? I'm not playing that. I'm not doing that.
How is that even?
I wouldn't do it. His ratings are going to go through the roof. I wouldn't do it. I'd walk away. I'd say, I cannot believe you put a picture of the KKK right underneath me. Burning a cross in their full white hoodies. And I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not doing it.
No, not even close. I would never do it. Forget that. You got to walk away from that.
I would. I'm curious to see how it goes down, but it can't go well. Do you know what day it's going to be? Is it
22nd? Okay, 22nd of September.
All right,
I think it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's.
It's a Tuesday. Next Tuesday, so not this coming Tuesday. Two Tuesdays.
The following Tuesday.
Right. Not this Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
That's a long time.
It's a long way away.
We're gonna have another show by then.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a long way away. Oh yeah.
So, I hope he turns it down because of that KKK picture.
Okay, so another one who's crying. Bruce Jenner is afraid of ending up in men's jail.
Excuse me, it's not Bruce anymore.
They used Bruce, and this Breitbart called him Bruce.
You know what? I applaud them for holding their ground. He still has his junk.
Right. Okay. So, anyways, he's crying over that. So, Sarah Palin calls anti-cop, hashtag Black Lives Matter, calls them activist dogs at a rally. The Black Lives Matter movement has spun into absolute hatred and anger.
It is the black KKK now.
Well, look at what they posted.
What does that say?
The orders have just come down from the head organizer of FYF 9/11 movement from Palmetto Star. The ratchet revolutionary, too raw for TV. The orders come down to reveal the secret location of the FYF mobilization. F yo flag. That's what FYF means. F your flag. Movement calls for Black Lives Matter violence on 9/11.
What flag? The American flag?
Yes.
So it's just an anti-American jihadist movement.
So this black woman who's not wearing any pants, and you see her from the side, so you don't see any of her private parts. You just see the side of her thigh. Has a shirt on, with her middle finger in the air, smiling. And Carrie, you can't see this, but she's got a flag underneath her bottom. An American flag.
And she's holding it with her hand.
Yep.
Like she's wiping herself?
Yep. That
is so foul. That is so foul.
This is the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
This is the FYF, F yo flag movement.
You know what? If you don't like America, please leave. Please find a way to, what do they call that? Renounce your citizenship.
Right.
And get on a plane or a ship or just cross the border somewhere and get out of America. Right. And believe me, you will be homesick like you wouldn't believe. Don't sit there and call America home and wipe your butt with the American flag and say F yo flag or whatever.
How can you do that? You can't do. I mean, you can, but let me tell you, it ain't going to end well. Seriously.
Please leave. Please. How can you hear me say please leave and you not be like, you know what, you're right. I'm not welcome here. And that's what they feel. You won't be welcome here if you do that kind of stuff. If you say F yo flag. What flag are you waving? I mean, do you have a flag? I mean,
Black Lives Matter flag.
Is there a flag for Black Lives Matter?
Might be.
Okay. Or
it's the black flag and says ISIS on it.
Oh, okay.
Black Lives Matter. It's ISIS.
Is that the
something?
Okay.
Hey, I got this from the producer in the back. Got my numbers a little bit mixed up. Obama gives up to $12 billion in taxpayer money to Iran. On Wednesday, they paid another $490 million in cash and assets.
I thought they're not paying until...
Well, they pay a little bit throughout. We're all the way up to, by the end of June, the final payment will be $12 billion. The final little partial payments.
I mean, they're going to need that money to make the ICBMs. I mean, those are not cheap.
Somewhere.
And centrifuges, I mean, they already are built somewhere, I'm sure, but they have to keep the power going.
Okay, that's right. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings. She's the one that went ahead for Freddie Gray, $4.6 million. She went green-lighted. She also came out and said, I'm not running for re-election because I need to focus on how the city will brace itself for Freddie Gray.
Is Freddie Gray coming back from the dead?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
you need a Freddie soundbite right now.
Something, man.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my goodness. Something. Oh, there's no question about that. But so there was a blogger named Steve Saylor. He was a former data cruncher and a market analyst, and he did some math. And he came up with some numbers. He said only 482 extra Americans have been shot, stabbed, clubbed, kicked to death in 59 largest cities since President Obama launched his media-pumped campaign to delegitimize and federalize state local police forces, according to a new analyst. He's saying that compared to 2014 to 2015, that 482 extra people have been killed, including 77 extra dead in Baltimore, 60 extra dead in St. Louis, a nonpartisan website. This website compiled 2015 homicide, nearly all 60 biggest cities. There's been an increase in homicide this year in big U.S. cities of about 16%. That's pretty big.
So is that an increase?
Yeah, of 16% increase.
Because of federalization of the police force?
Well, no, just because of Obama delegitimizing the police and Black Lives Matter.
Are you serious? Yeah. I mean, we've been saying this on Smith Radio for months and months. They have blood on their hands. They are responsible for the deaths. That guy that ran up behind that cop in Texas and shot him in the head, hit the ground and unloaded the last 14 bullets into his back.
Yeah.
That is a result of Obama rhetoric and Obama supporter rhetoric in the media. It's as simple as that. Right. They all have blood in their hand. All y'all Obama supporters and Black Lives Matters people, you all have blood on your hands. Although the Black Lives Matters people would say, well, that's what our intention is. Our goal is to be able to walk up to the backs of the head of officers while they're fueling their vehicle, shoot them, and then unload the rest of the clip into their back. That is our goal. That is our stated mission. And so that was a success story.
Right. So there was a 911 threat call by Black Lives Matter, and 4 hours after the call, Colorado police were fired upon.
Wow.
Out in Arizona, apparently.
I mean, these people, if these same people are also like F yo flag and wiping their butt with it, we could probably legitimately charge anybody who's been proven to be part of this organization who have committed a capital crime, not just charge them with just murder, but also treason.
Right. Oh, sure.
These are enemies of America now. They're don't you automatically denounce your citizenship when you start to say stuff like that? Not only are you, it's one thing to have the freedom of speech to say F your flag and wipe your butt with it, but then to commit a murder based on following through with your rhetoric. Now you're not just exercising freedom of speech, you're acting out in a treasonous way. We can connect your crime of murder to the fact that you're killing an American because you view him as an enemy.
Right.
That makes you a traitor, and then you should be executed like Julius and Ethel Rosenberg.
Correct.
There you
go. Trump said he blasts Black Lives Matter, saying Democrats who support them not fit to run for office.
Who said this?
Trump.
Well, good for you. This is why he's
O'Reilly's show.
Get even more.
But you wouldn't even know because we don't watch O'Reilly.
I actually saw a clip of O'Reilly and Trump.
Really?
Yeah, somebody posted it up on Twitter, and I couldn't resist because O'Reilly, you know what he is? He's a troll.
Yeah,
he is. He'll figure out what you support, whatever your side is, and he'll play devil's advocate. And then he'll find out wow.
So sorry.
He'll figure out what the other side argues against, and then he'll play devil's advocate on the other side. He plays devil's advocate on both sides because he wants to troll you to death.
Okay, so
my dad won't listen to him anymore.
Have you seen that video of the San Antonio, Texas high school football player?
Yes, where they hit the referee
right there. Comes right out
and just nails him. Yeah.
Nails the referee in the back, just unloads on him. Do you know what he said? Do you know why he did it?
What was his excuse?
The referee was racist.
Well, the accusation was that he said racist things to him.
Wow.
How can you prove that he didn't?
Right. Okay, so then there's another one of a prosecuting attorney who's defending it's a public pretender.
Okay.
Defending a black man in court. Public pretender's white, the judge is white, and so the public pretender goes on to we'll skip up through the beginning of it. Goes on to defend this guy.
Anything you want to add, Mr. Miller?
Yeah, my reading of the probable cause affidavit never places Mr. Clark inside the car.
Okay. Running from the area where the car was, and the co-defendant Wesley admits that Clark was there with everyone else to burglarize the vehicles in the area.
Okay, so the guns are found in the car. Mr. Clark is never connected with the car. Again, how are we connecting him with the shot being fired?
So I'm going to say
shots are being fired, and he's running from the scene because shots are being fired.
Right. And he's got
in light of what's happening in
okay, and he had an empty holster on him. He's running from the car. They found him with an empty holster and guns strewn all over the place.
Got it.
Your Honor, in light of what's happening in this country,
here it is.
With unarmed black men being killed by police,
don't hand me that. Don't
hand me that. From shots being fired.
Don't even go down that road. I'm not going to let you go down that road. That is so off base. We've got a young man. I don't care what color he is. He's in a neighborhood he doesn't live in at 1:41 in the morning, hiding on under somebody's dock in the water with a holster on after a police officer had a shot taken at him. Don't hand me this. He's a black man running from police brutality. Look, that is not appropriate in this case. That's not fair. I'm not going to let you poison this case with bringing in something that has nothing to do with it. Your bond's $100,000 on count 3 and $100,000 on count 4. Thank you.
Good for him. But, so the defendant was white?
No. He's a black man who's getting ready to go to jail.
Oh, so the guy the suspect was black.
The perp.
Okay, so
the perpetrator.
Okay.
The suspect was black, and the public pretender.
Oh, he tried to invoke
he was
the race
white.
card.
Yeah, he's a white guy.
Okay.
And he's trying to invoke the race card. I guess maybe because
given the climate
he's a liberal.
Today, given the climate, well, he was a last-ditch effort. He had a holster
that was empty, and the guns were left at the car at the scene.
And this was after shots were fired at cops.
Right.
Oh boy!
All they got to do is forensic on his holster and on the guns they found, and you'll find forensic evidence that gun was in that holster.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to watch a TV show, man. Forensic Files.
That sounds a little bit
forensic
CSI. That sounds a little CSI for me.
No, it's Forensic Files.
Does the gun leave a fingerprint or a gun print in the gun?
Residue.
Or in the holster?
Oh, absolutely.
But the residue is just black powder.
Well, yeah, but there's going to be an impression in the holster.
Maybe.
If it's been there for a long time. If the glove does not fit.
That's right. If the holster does not fit, I think they should. Clearly, this public pretender did not learn from the school of Johnny Cochran, because he could have easily invoked the Chewbacca defense.
Correct. So the war is on cops, and 3 Iowa teens arrested after throwing Mazel Tov cocktails at the cops.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Dude, what is going on here?
It's open season on cops, I'm telling you, and it's, it's time to go Rudy Giuliani on that ass.
I would have, yeah.
Rudy Giuliani said, okay, back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, New York City was worse than Baghdad, probably. Right. Fallujah.
Okay.
And I remember you were not to be caught in a subway at any time. Remember all the walls were covered in graffiti?
Oh, yeah.
The cars of the subways were covered in graffiti. The insides of the cars covered in graffiti.
It smelled like urine. Everything was just urine on every.
There was a stream of urine everywhere.
You know, that's where they came out with the Ghostbusters. All the cess underneath the city.
Okay.
All the evil under the city.
It was a metaphor.
Yes.
The whole thing was a metaphor.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 80s, 70s. Yeah. Okay, so Rudy Giuliani came along and said, we are cleaning this up. And he pretty much covered the streets in cops. He increased the police force by 3-fold.
Right.
And he just blanketed the entire Manhattan area and Brooklyn and just all 5 boroughs, just blanketed with cops. And crime went down like you wouldn't believe. And I think it's time to probably do that. You want to talk about having jobs? You want jobs?
Right.
We need to increase the amount of police force. We need to start getting kids into the police academy and start getting them all trained up and just start blanketing these cities with police. Do the Rudy Giuliani.
Right.
What he did with New York City.
I agree 100%. Hey, real quick, we've got 9 minutes left. I think I want us to kind of give some of these folks a heads up on minimum wage and what San Francisco has done.
Okay.
And this week, New York City has followed suit.
And what did they do?
Minimum wage for fast food workers. Minimum. $15.
Wow.
An hour.
There is a Burger King in Lawrenceburg that has a sign on it. You know, sometimes it says 99-cent Whoppers, whatever.
$9.99 Whopper.
Right. So this sign said, now hiring up to.
Okay.
Up to $9 an hour. Up to.
Wow. So in order to hit the ceiling of 9?
It means if you're totally overqualified, you could probably hit that.
9. Like maybe I could get 9?
I think you would probably be able to squeak out 9.
Squeak out 9.
Yeah. 875 if they're not 100% sure.
Man, I could raise myself up. Maybe
$9. I was
go
like,
there with
up
a dollar raise.
Up to? That's like, I was a little bit kind of insulted.
No. Who gets those jobs?
It must be. Now a kid would probably be like, wow, up to $9?
Okay. Back when you were a kid, a teenager, if they said up to $6 an hour.
Oh, that would have looked good. I meant $6.
The minimum wage was $3.35.
Oh, it was $4.25 when I started.
Well, me too. I heard somebody say $3.35 back in the day.
Oh, that was the rumor around town.
My first job, 16 years old, working for Kroger's.
Okay.
$3.35 an hour.
Throwing boxes?
Collecting carts.
Oh, collecting carts. Okay.
That lasted for a month, and I almost quit.
Almost?
I couldn't take it.
Well, then what happened after a month?
Oh, I transferred to the produce department. And I got in the union. After 30 days, you get in a union. Okay. And then they couldn't fire me.
You were tenured.
I was tenured no matter what I did. And I did some really bad stuff.
Like wipe your butt with the American flag and the...
Ooh, that was sinister.
With the lettuce leaves?
Oh!
That's not pate.
Whoa! Oh, my God, Lord! So check this out. San Francisco has fought the $15 minimum wage by introducing automated teller machines.
Okay.
It's some of them you see, like Kroger's does have some of these where you walk up to it, you type in your sandwich order, and then it'll...
I've used that. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so tell me how it works. I've never used it.
Well, it's at the front of the store. You tell it what you want from the deli, and then submit it.
Okay.
And you can walk around and shop elsewhere. And if about 15 minutes to a half hour later, if you show up at the deli, there's a bag with your stuff in it.
No.
Yeah, already sliced and everything.
Dude, that's awesome. So I never did.
But it's only for the deli, though.
So check this out. They have these automatic teller machines that says order and pay here, fast and easy, McDonald's.
Oh, Jack in the Crack has those.
Okay. Right now?
Yeah.
In Ohio.
It's on Tylersville.
Right.
Tylersville. You go up there, and you could go up to the counter if you want, but right next to the counter is one of these big, giant screens. It's like a big box with a big screen. You could do your whole order right there.
Nice.
Which is not really that different from the online order. If I go to Jimmy John's, I think.
Jimmy John's, yeah.
I can go onto their website, make an order, and then just drive there. They can also deliver, too.
Right. Pizza Hut.
Oh, Domino's does it, too.
Pizza Hut has a phenomenal site. They save your favorites.
Oh, that's nice.
Not only they save your favorites, but they have exponentially more options on your pizza on the website than you'll find anywhere else. It's like the secret ingredient.
Oh, you can get double anchovies.
Whatever. You can get
sweet.
You can get the crust sprinkled with like 5 different items or 5 different types. You can have it buttered and glazed. You can have it Parmesan cheese and glazed, herb and glazed. Like, I've never heard of any of this stuff.
Marco's does that.
Okay.
But no, I didn't know that Pizza Hut does that.
They save your credit card. Fast and easy, quick pay. Click.
So now it's just
checkout.
like one button and you're done.
And then all of a sudden, a timer pops up.
Okay.
And it starts counting down when your pizza will be delivered.
Do you remember back in the late 80s, Domino's had that 30 minutes or less or it's free? Yeah.
They had to cut that out.
Well, eventually they realized, okay, there's some places where this is not happening.
Well, that and people were killing each other trying to break their necks to get the delivery.
A lot of
there.
car wrecks.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be out $3.50.
No.
Because I think it was probably that cheap back then.
Right. So Drudge had an op-ed on New York approves minimum wage fast food workers $15 an hour. Oops. Should look at Seattle and San Francisco. Progressives have proved time and time again they don't understand how to raise minimum wages affects the economy and jobs. Seattle, which recently enacted $15 minimum wage, automated cashiers are already being put into fast food restaurants. They call it McJobless in Seattle.
McJobless
in Seattle. Yeah.
How many different things do they mash together to come up with that title?
Dude, that's hysterical. As order screens arrive, Labor Day reality check for $15 dollar minimum wage. While it seems liberals may think that raising minimum wage will raise the living standards of poor Americans, they should have seen this coming.
You know what? Have you ever seen the movie Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes?
Does that great? Does that have that
Sandra Bullock?
No, the black lady with the shaved head that was the singer.
I have no idea.
Okay, never mind.
Tracy Chapman. I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
No, she was a singer back in the day.
And she was bald?
Yeah, she shaved her head bone. Sweet dreams are made of
that's the
these.
Eurythmics.
Who had
That's the Eurythmics. She's not black.
Was that okay?
Okay. I don't know. I can't remember what her name is.
She also played in James Bond movie. They had her in James Bond one time.
Demolition Man. Anyway.
I thought she played.
Here's my prediction for the future.
Okay.
Everything will be automated, but we're going to have so many, and because it's automated, there won't be a whole heck of a lot of reason to work for anything.
If I could build a machine or buy a robot on loan and set him in front of my machine to hit the green button when it needs to be hit, I might pay for that.
You would pay for the machine that hits the green button.
Right.
On when it needs to be hit.
Right. Like if they took like $200 a month out of my check, like I'm paying for a car, but I'm paying for a robot. And so I stick him in front of my machine and I have him press the green button.
Oh, is that all you do all day?
Yeah.
It's just
hit the green button.
Okay. Wow. So if you could just have them just installed, and you could do it remotely from your phone.
I could, because I could see what he's looking at, and I'll see if it's okay.
Well, all you need is a remote camera.
Well, yeah, of course.
Say, okay, he's still doing it right.
Right. So if that robot costs $30,000, just like an expensive car loan,
okay, all right,
$300-400 a month,
okay,
for me to stay home.
Okay, and it might be worth it, especially since you can then go get another job and put another. You could expand.
Yep.
You could have 20 different jobs,
right?
20 different machines,
all on
profiting off of the other. You're right in the revenue stream.
It's big time revenue stream.
You know who does that? Check this out. I got cut off.
All right, folks, follow us on Facebook, Twitter.
Next week.
Stay tuned for the story next week because it will be coming to you live, loud, and proud.
Join us next week.
We are all over the place for you. Good night now.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.